Two people went on a trip, one person returned.
Still no sign of Gabby Petito, the 22-year-old woman from Long Island.
When his mother didn't text me back the day I was trying to report her missing, I knew that something was wrong.
Now police have named him a person of interest.
Why? Why are you silent?
What does it take to get a more in-depth look into the week's top local news stories? The Debrief brings you inside for a one-on-one conversation with our reporters every week, right here, right now. The Debrief.
Hello, welcome to The Debrief. I'm Hazy Cheng. The search for Gabby Petito is spanning several states and jurisdictions, which is why we find ourselves here in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, where Gabby Petito's family has come to search for her themselves. This is very important to the family. That's why we're doing the podcast. They're trying to drum up interest and to keep Gabby's disappearance in the news so that they can try to get as many people to help find her as possible. And so I encourage you to listen to this podcast and to share it with as many people as you can. Let's start with what we know. 22-year-old Gabby Petito, who's from Blue Point, Long Island, moved to Florida in 2019 to live with her then boyfriend, now fiance, Brian Laundrie. Her family says that on July 2nd, the two embarked on a cross-country journey. They packed Gabby's white Ford van and headed west, hitting popular national parks along the way while documenting the entire experience on YouTube and Instagram. On video, their cross-country trip looked beautiful. Their relationship, loving and affectionate. They were supposed to end up in Portland, Oregon in October. But now Brian Laundrie is back in Florida with Gabby's van, and Gabby is nowhere to be found. Her family is clearly distraught and distressed. And so we caught up with Jim Schmidt, her stepfather, who came all the way from Blue Point, Long Island to here in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, to help with the search himself. Jim, you've been on the ground since yesterday. What has it been like?
It's been pretty crazy here. Just trying to touch base with law enforcement, let them know we're here, that we're here for whatever they need to assist them in the investigation. We're committed to finding Gabby and doing whatever it takes to help them.
And tell me what you're doing here to help people find Gabby. Who have you been talking to?
We've just been out here basically handing out some flyers for the most part. We don't have any people that we're with that are out in the woods. We're not out in the woods. That's not what we're here for. We're just here to support law enforcement with whatever they need.
And you want to also just jog people's memories, right? Like if you happen to see someone or if someone sees the poster, maybe they'll say something.
Yes. Yesterday when we were handing out some of the flyers, we were putting up in some of the businesses. We walked into one business in particular. And as soon as I walked in, the lady recognized my face. And I had the poster in my hand and she just started to tear up. It was really touching. So they're very aware of it out here. This is a very transient area, which we're learning. And that's one of the other reasons why we're out here. A lot of people coming in and out. So we're just asking that anybody who has been to this area, has visited, taking pictures, videos, whatever it may be, to go back and look at those and take a look, see if there's anything that may be in there that could help us and help the police do what they have to do to find Gabby.
We know the one person who might know where Gabby is, right?
Yes.
We know there's one person who knows where she is, but they can't get him to talk. Is that ridiculous to you?
It's absolutely absurd. I fully understand a person's constitutional rights, the right to not speak in a situation like this, but everything you see on Facebook, Instagram, whatever it may be, you refer to her as the love of your life. Everything seemed to be happy. You were on a cross-country trip with her, and suddenly you're silent. Why? Why are you silent? Whatever may or may not have happened, you need to speak up. This is about Gabby and finding her, bringing her home to us, so we know she's safe. It's unfathomable why he's not speaking.
It was revealed that your wife's last message that she received from Gabby said, "Service poor in Yosemite." That made no sense to you because she wasn't supposed to be there, right?
The timeline now that we know that the van and he were back in Florida on September 1st, and looking at the time frame from the last text messages, it's really calling into question who sent them, where they came from. And we don't know. And it's upsetting.
The video, I'm sure you saw it, right?
Yes, we had a chance to review it.
What did you think when you saw it? What were your initial thoughts?
It was very upsetting to see them, a little bit of a disagreement, seeing her so upset. It was upsetting.
And we had spoken to your wife before. She said she had no hesitations about her going on this trip at all.
No, none at all. They took a trip within the last year and a half, and they enjoyed it. They loved it. They had done a lot of other trips in the meantime. They had fun, and they were really looking forward to it. When they were at our house before they left on July 2nd, they were so excited. They were getting the van ready, and they couldn't wait to go.
And to see them, fighting and her so distressed, and actually the cops reacting the way they did, what do you wish those cops would have done?
I can't comment too much on or speculate on what I wish they would have done. What was done is done. They're traveling together in a small van together. So, I'm sure there's going to be moments when you get a little frustrated or whatever it may be. But they did what they did, and that's it.
You're visiting random campsites. You're talking to random strangers because you don't know where she is, but Brian does. What do you want Brian to do?
Just want Brian to speak up and tell us where she is. Where was the last place you were with her? That way we can bring her home. It's what has to be done. It's the right thing to do.
Lots of questions here, particularly why Brian Laundrie hasn't spoken to police yet. He was Gabby's travel companion and her fiance. To find out more about the latest on the investigation, we spoke with Josh Taylor of the Northport, Florida Police. Here's what he told us. Josh, what is the latest in this case?
Sure. So I think some of the latest is that we have a new FBI tip line that we're trying to get out there for anybody who may have seen Gabby or Brian and their vast travels, certainly in the last 3 weeks. And that number is 1-800-CALL-FBI. Another detail is that we are now the lead investigating agency in this, working alongside the FBI and still working alongside the Suffolk County Police Department. Also new is the fact that we've now identified Brian as a person of interest in this case. And the fact we have revealed that we believe he was back here in Northport roughly 10 days before her family reported her missing.
What new information leads you to call him a person of interest now?
Well, we're now the lead agency, so we can call him what we need to. We are certainly interested in speaking with him, which has been a challenge. To define him as a person of interest is something people have just been asking for, so we've answered that.
So you haven't been able to interview him even once since you have reports that Gabby was missing?
That's correct. On Saturday, September 11th, we visited his parents' residence where both he and Gabby lived. We were basically met by the family with a piece of paper with how to contact their attorney. And we did find her vehicle, which we believe he drove here to Northport, which we took.
Can you talk a little bit about what you're going to be looking for with the van?
We've had the latest and greatest in FBI technology and our own skill set going through that. We went through that yesterday. We certainly did a cursory look on that vehicle. Initially, there was nothing suspicious on the outside, but sometimes you only get one shot at these things. So we made sure we had all of the experts from the FBI there to use their skill set. They certainly do it a lot. So I think that we're hopeful that there'll be some details that come out in that. It's going to take a little bit of time. Unfortunately, I think people want an answer right now. I think this case may take some time.
Everybody's asking, where's Gabby? And it seems to me that the one person who would know where she is isn't talking.
Yeah.
What do you think of that in terms of, a police investigation?
Well, it's not helpful. That's the bottom line. And we're in a position where we're holding out hope that Gabby's alive. Maybe she's lost in the woods somewhere. Time is of the essence in getting facts and getting details in this case. Certainly the last known person to potentially have been with her, or we can rule that out, or whatever the case may be. We need those details. To simply say nothing and to basically put out a statement yesterday that they'll remain in the background is hurting this investigation for someone that he has said is the love of his life.
And that seems odd to us. From a police perspective, what does that?
When you say us, I'm assuming you mean humans, because I think that's odd to everyone.
This investigation is happening on two fronts. Brian is in Florida. You're trying to get information from him. At what point can you, bring him in for questioning? Have you done that already? Or have you tried?
Certainly, we've made an attempt that Saturday. People have, with every single person we come in contact with or potentially arrest is, they have the right to remain silent. It's the Fifth Amendment in this country. Brian, if he chooses to, could potentially never talk about this. But as someone who is claiming to be innocent, or we would assume is claiming to be innocent, it's important that he share his details in this case.
So this is an important point. We now know Brian Laundrie drove back to Florida on September 1st with Gabby's van. But Gabby's family does not report her missing until September 11th because they had gone too many days without speaking to her. When was the last time Gabby's mom spoke to her? The family says August 25th. They FaceTimed, and Gabby said they were on their way through Grand Teton and was traveling to Yellowstone. A few days later, she received some text messages from Gabby's phone number, but she wasn't convinced they were from her. We now know it's because the text said very briefly, "No service in Yosemite," which was another national park more than 800 miles away from Yellowstone, which is where she was headed. By September 11th, she filed a missing persons report with Suffolk County Police, where she lives. And to help us unravel this complicated case, we turn to a seasoned criminal investigator. Bob Biancavilla was the former deputy chief of homicide in the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office. How is Brian Laundrie behaving in this case?
You have to look at this in two ways. First of all, he's behaving the way any attorney representing him would tell him to behave. All right? Don't say anything, just be quiet. The law provides to him in terms of the presumption of innocence and not saying anything that's going to incriminate himself. The other side is that the way an investigator would look at it, the way I looked at cases for years, when a person refuses to talk to you, it speaks volumes in terms of where you should be looking when you're investigating these cases. This case could easily be solved if he offered information, but it's not an easy case to work on. It's not an easy case to solve. First of all, it would be wonderful to locate this young woman and find her healthy and safe someplace. But at this point in time, they're looking in other directions. So essentially what they're going to have to do is focus on him and then focus on any information they can glean from many, many, many different sources on his whereabouts from the last time the family spoke to her and knew they were speaking to or communicating with her, up to the point when he arrived back in Florida.
Their family members are out there in Wyoming right now. They're joining the search for her. They're trying to look for her. But at the same time, Northport police in Florida are saying Brian Laundrie was driving in a van with her cross country, and he hasn't shared any information about where she might be, about how they might direct their search.
She may not be in Wyoming. It's a national park. She could be anywhere along the way from Wyoming to back in Florida, which is why they're going to have to use resources which are readily available to them in order to track the path of that vehicle from the time it left Wyoming to the time it arrived back in Florida. And that could be any number of things that they could do. They could track cell phone data. They could track license plate readers every time the car went through a toll booth. They can track fueling depots where he may have stopped to fuel up the car. There's so many cameras that are out there these days that can spot a vehicle, and the technology that law enforcement has in order to track these vehicles can be pretty amazing.
Yesterday, the Laundrie family released a statement, and I think it was striking on many, especially because of how cold it sort of sounded, right? They said, on behalf of the Laundrie family, it is our hope that the search for Miss Petito is successful, and that Miss Petito is reunited with her family. From that perspective, I mean, Brian was engaged to her, right? As we were led to believe from the Instagram post and from what the family is saying. He's calling her Miss Petito now. What's going on there?
Well, that's lawyer speak. They didn't prepare that statement. Whoever's representing the family in this matter drafted that and released it to the public. That's not a statement that anyone would issue involving the fiance of a loved one. This is clearly, the lawyers are now blocking any intervention from law enforcement into this family.
And I mean, law enforcement seem to be pretty frustrated with the fact that they can't talk to Brian Laundrie, or they haven't been able to talk to him and gotten a really good idea as to what his last steps were and where she might be.
Yeah, look, it's frustrating, but it's only one avenue. Speaking to a suspect or someone, a person of interest, as they're calling him at this point, that's only one avenue. There are so many other avenues I'm sure they are pursuing in order to locate her. You have the FBI involved, you have the Suffolk County Police Department involved, you have the law enforcement in Wyoming involved. You have a wealth of resources that are going to be looking at this investigation. The fact that he won't speak just tells you that you're looking at the right person and that he's the person that you should be tracking. It's not as if you have to wonder who the potential suspect is or who the potential target is of this investigation. So now go talk to his friends, see who he interacted with when he came back to town. Start talking to them. Believe me, there is a wealth of work that could be done on this case that will provide important leads to investigators.
So if you were leading the search for Gabby Petito, what would you be doing right now?
I would be, as a prosecutor, making sure that all the agencies involved in this investigation were tracking down every possible way to determine where he has been from the time he came back to Florida to the time he was last seen with her, a visual sighting and interaction with her, and using the resources, whether they be cell phone records, whether they be license plate readers, whether they be cameras on throughways and freeways, whether they be cameras in gas stations, any type of technology that is out there that has the ability to track is what you want to look at. Okay, I would be sending law enforcement teams to different locations where they may have been last seen to interview some witnesses there. I wouldn't be so focused on speaking to him. Okay, you know who your target is. Okay, so go out now and find information relating to that target that's going to bring you ultimately to a point where hopefully you'll be able to find this young woman.
One of the reasons why the family wants to put this out there so much in the media is because they want to encourage people to come forward. You know, any little thing they might have seen could be significant. Can you talk about how, you know, maybe even a gas station that he stopped along the way?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You may stop in a gas station, or you may get a interview someone in a gas station and say, yeah, he stopped here, got gas. And you know what? I saw him get out of the car and put something in the dumpster. You know, oh, okay, do you have a video? And sure enough, now you have a video. It's pieces of a puzzle like that that'll bring this case to fruition. You know, put the young woman's picture out there, get the public involved. Someone saw them at some point along the way. And if they haven't already found those people and haven't already started talking to those people, they eventually will come forward and give you that information. Now, this is not to say that this case will be solved overnight, okay? Because generally speaking, these are not. This investigation could take quite some time. Putting together the pieces of this kind of a puzzle can be time consuming.
Well, and while the search for Gabby continues, police say Brian Laundrie continues to be silent. His family attorney released a statement recently saying he is staying silent based on legal counsel. This has the police chief of Northport, who is the lead agency, pleading with him on Twitter to speak with detectives and share what information he has about where he last saw Gabby. Gabby's family is also pressuring Brian, suggesting he should be more concerned about his missing fiance. Again, I encourage you to share this podcast and to keep talking about Gabby Petito to help generate leads for the family. If you do know anything about this story, you're urged to call the FBI. You can reach them at 1-800-CALL-FBI. And that'll do it for this edition of The Debrief. Thanks for listening. Till the next time.
Hey, what's going on? I thought that was really important to hear, especially from that man's point of view. Of course, I will start this off with saying if you've already watched me today and you are following this case, you know I'm not a professional. I by no means am not a professional. I jumped on earlier to talk on a rumor that was going around that there had been a body found in the area of where they are searching for Brian, and that that there had been a suicide on a radar. But I did come in saying on my video that I heard it was a rumor, and then that I hoped it wasn't Brian. But I also spoke on, if it was Brian, how I felt about it. Now, it's still not okay to talk about in hindsight when it turns out to be a rumor. People are just going to jump at you and bark down your throat. Blah, 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 blah. Why are you spreading misinformation? I'm like, hey. Look, I'm only a human with a YouTube channel. Somebody said earlier, I'm a lurker. I was a lurker in December. In December, I was a lurker on YouTube. I am no way saying that I am credible. I am just saying this is as much facts as I can get. I brought something to you, and I will always tell you whether I think it's a fact or not. Always. I will always say whether I think this is real or not. A few weeks ago, if you follow me for the Wells case, something was told to me directly by Candace Bly, and I repeated it, and it turned out to be fake, and people still were like, why would you spread a rumor? And I'm like, I got it from the... why wouldn't I believe a missing girl's mom? But hey, things happen. I also follow a lot of cases in the media. Just because we give you guys the advantage to reach out to us, I think we get to feel the blow more. But a few weeks ago, if you follow the Liam Hudspeth case, a few months ago, he was found in the desert, and they assumed it was another little boy before they even got DNA back. This little boy's face was all over the news. They were talking about how his dad had hurt him. The mom was on the news. People were talking about how great of a child he was, so on and so forth. And it turned out to be Liam Hudspeth, not this little boy. This little boy was actually camping with his dad. His dad didn't kill him. But because you don't know Mary Lou Seward, who does the Fox Nightly News, you don't get to yell at her the way you get to yell at me. I'm not saying it's any of you. It may be people that just watch me later to get upset. But I will always try to comment or reply to all comments. So I will also say that I'm allowed to reply to the negative ones. And if I get snarky, I think you probably hit me on a raw nerve on a moment where I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed, but at the same time, I was just speaking on something that I heard. I wasn't the first to put it out. I wasn't trying to be the first to put it out. Somebody said also, you said you want to be the first. I said, no. I said, I'll be the first to say if it's true, you guys dropped the ball to the police department. And that's true. If that would have been true, I would have 100% been upset with the police department that they lost Brian. They kind of still did lose Brian. So that's where we are right now. Another thing I wanted to pull up was my point of view of what's going on in this whole situation. So we all watched the body cam. I've seen it twice with you guys, and then I've watched it maybe 5 times on my own. There's a lot of things that aren't brought up. And I'm not saying that people don't listen, but I feel like a lot of people didn't listen. I'm not going to sit here and tell people that that they can't be right, or that they're wrong. But if you think that Gabby was beating on Brian and she may have brought it upon herself, this isn't going to be the chat for you, because I'm about to go in and show all the ways that I feel he was abusing her, gaslighting her, and then all of it got turned around because she is an abused person. I may not go into it 100% because I have to hold back a little bit. But with that being said, right now you guys are all here because Gabby Petito is missing. Her boyfriend came back from a trip without her, and now we don't know where she is, and now we don't know where he is, and we're watching this in real time, and I think we're all kind of freaking out. I know you guys are. It's kind of why I had to play something in the beginning, like almost need to draw out my nerves. But I'm going to play this real quick, and then I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. It's within the first few moments of the body cam.
Driver is showing some obscure driving, possibly intoxicated. Currently doing 45 miles an hour. Zone through here is 25. Oh! Subject says to hit the curb.
First things first, they had already called the cops on them after the man had seen them in the parking lot arguing. And then right here, he says he was driving 45 miles an hour in a 15. If you go to the police report, which I will pull up after this, I don't know how to pull up simultaneously. I'm not that gifted. If you go to the police report, it was a 15 mile per hour zone. He was going 45 miles an hour. And in the report, he sped up. And then see, I didn't want to be late for you guys. He sped up. And then he said that at some point, I know you all remember, that she grabbed the wheel. And that's why he had hit the side or whatever. He said that she grabbed the wheel, or she said she grabbed the wheel to get his attention. They were fighting in the car. And have you guys ever been in the car with the psycho? And instead of slowing down, they speed up? And all you want to do is jump out of the car because you don't know what to do? Unfortunately, I've been in that situation before, where you were in the car with somebody who gets weirdly upset, and you're kind of like, I need to get out. And instead of letting you get out, they just go really fast. And really fast, going 45 in a 15 mile per hour zone is fast. With a cop behind you, that's weird. That's weird. I don't know how that skipped everybody's, I don't know how that just got passed up by all the people that are saying, oh, she was beating on him and stuff like, wouldn't you? I'm sorry. I don't mean to promote violence, but wouldn't you put hands on him? Do you really think that she grabbed the steering wheel to make them crash when there was a cop behind them? Or do you think she was trying to get him to stop because he didn't want to? And if she went to grab the wheel, why did they go to the left and hit the side? Because they hit the divider thing, right? That's what they said. Or the curb or whatever. We gotta see that part again. But yeah, so let's go on with that.
Correction, speed limit is 15. I'm about 3/4 of a mile into the arches just before the gate. You want to place your vehicle into park and go ahead and turn it off for me? Yeah. No, park? Oh, it isn't park yet. Okay, turn off your engine. Go ahead and set your keys on the dash for me, all right? What's your guys' names?
Gabby.
I'm Brian. Gabby, Brian? Okay. What's going on? How come you're crying?
I'm just crying. We've just been fighting this morning. Some personal issues.
It was a long day. We were camping yesterday, and camping got the stuff, supplies and stuff. I'm sorry I hit the bump there.
Okay, so I was wrong. But either way, she was pulling the steering wheel at some point while he was driving because there was a cop behind them. They both, they said it. She wasn't doing it to make them crash. She was doing it to get him to pull over because he probably didn't want to, in my opinion. Now, also, she just said, we've been fighting. She's trying to tell him we've been fighting. And he says, yeah, we went camping yesterday and there was flies and what? He's trying to make it seem like she's frustrated. She is frustrated, and he's giving the reasons why she's frustrated instead of just acknowledging that they've been fighting that day. Later on, he admits that they were fighting that day. But right here, he minimalizes it 100%. Oh, we were camping. You live in a van. You weren't camping. You were just spending the night. It's a way of life. Like, how would that... I don't know. Let's go on. Minimized.
I was distracting him from driving. I'm sorry.
Can I get you to step out of the vehicle for me, man?
Yeah.
Just hang tight right there. Do you mind if I take your keys and just put them on your hood?
You got it, buddy. I'm so
Thank
sorry.
you. Oh, no, you're fine. I'm gonna go ahead and close your door. Why don't you come over here?
Real quick before I forget, somebody said putting the blame on her. Right. I completely forgot to not write that in, to say that in there, that when you have an abuser, the last thing you want to do is upset them. And if you've already upset them to the point where you threw a fit and they're mad you threw a fit, and then a cop pulls you over and everything's going to go down, the last thing you want to do when you know you have to get back into a car with them is piss them off anymore. Of course, she was going to take all the blame. And I'm saying this with certainty in my heart, and I know all of you guys got that vibe too. She is trying to make it seem like she's the one that did it. I distracted him while driving, and that's why we hit the thing while he was going 45 miles an hour. She doesn't hit the gas. He hits the gas. He hits the gas, he hits the brake. But he wasn't stopping. If they had to pull, if she had to, the cop said he was following them. He said for a while, but I'm guessing for a cop, that's like, 10 seconds. But she had to try to get him to stop.
SO229, I have the female that was on the passenger seat separated from the male. Keys are on the hood. You want to tell me what's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just some days I have really bad OCD, and I was just cleaning when he was cleaning up the back of the van before, and I was apologizing to him and saying, "I'm sorry that I'm so mean," because sometimes I have OCD and sometimes I just get really frustrated. Not like mean towards him. I guess my vibe is like I am like in a bad mood. And I was just saying, I'm sorry if I'm in a bad mood. I've just been really stressed. I had so much work I was doing on my computer this morning.
What do you do for a living?
Well,
Once again, minimizing what's going on. She is saying that they argued that day. We heard that it was something to do with she was cleaning. He says something to the effect of he has dirty feet and he couldn't keep it clean, stuff like that. If you've seen any of her videos, you will notice that this girl can be in the middle of the desert and her tent looks spotless. When you're with somebody like that, you know what they like. And I'm not saying he has to live by her standards, but if he is if he is getting into the van or into the tent after walking barefoot, because that's what he likes to do, remember? I feel like this has a lot to do with the barefoot thing, that he's not going to keep his feet clean. And she's probably like, I don't want you all over my stuff when I have to use this stuff over and over and over again until we get it clean. And you're just jumping in here with your dirty, rusty feet when you could clearly clean them off. And she got frustrated. They started arguing, and then he started nitpicking at her. And you know how I know? Because later on, when they ask her something, she mumbles, and everyone's like, what did she say? What did she say? She said she got mad at him, and she hit him because he kept telling her to calm down. I don't know if you've ever been in a fight with somebody and you're crazy like me, but if you're mad and somebody keeps telling you to calm down, the opposite happens. The complete opposite. Calm down, calm down, calm down. When really all you need is a break. He was saying that he needed her to take a walk, that, he was going to go away while she took a walk and stuff like that. That was probably after he gaslit the crap out of her. They got into a big old fight. He wouldn't leave her alone. And then he was like, you need to go take a walk. No, now you're going to fight with me. I'm sorry. There's a hashtag now. It's called toxica. And it's like a toxic female. It's the female version of the word toxic in Spanish. And every time I see a toxica hashtag in a video, I feel like, oh, look, there's me. I'm Hispanic, and I feel like it's just in our blood, and I hate to say it that way, but I feel like being a Leo and a Hispanic, It comes out of you. I'm a fiery Latina. And no, if you are going to start a fight with me, you are going to finish the fight with me. I'm sorry if the people don't agree with that. I mean, you can hear me. I'm combative. I think that's what was going on. And then he was all of a sudden like, we're not going to, we're not going to fight anymore. You're going to walk it off while I sit in your car, and I'm not going to let you in the car. Do you know how crazy that feels? Can you imagine getting locked out of the home you live in? I would be livid. I mean, I would be off the handles like her, like slamming him into the van like they said she did. I'll pull up the police report again. But yes.
I was a nutritionist. That's what I got to and I just quit my job, so I travel across the country, and I'm trying to start a blog. So I've been building my website. I've been really stressed, and I believe that I could do any of it. Kind of been like I don't know, he's like, I don't know, we've been fighting all morning, and he would have let me in the car before. And then
Why wouldn't you let you in the car? Because
told me I need to calm down. Yeah. But I'm perfectly calm all the time, and he really stresses me out, and this is a rough morning.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't I sit?
So in case you didn't hear it and you need to hear it again, she says, he really stresses me out. She said it for him. She said it. He really stresses me out. And somebody asked above earlier if her parents knew. They said that she called her parents from the cop car.
Sit you down in the back seat of my car. You're not in any trouble, okay? I'm not going to be putting handcuffs on you. You obviously don't have any weapons. I'm going to get you into the air conditioning, let you take a breath, relax a little bit, and then I'll come back and talk to you in a few minutes, okay?
Okay.
All right. Like I said, you're not in any trouble. So just go ahead and take a seat. What's that? Yeah, I just spoke to her. So, you want to do me a favor? Let's go ahead and get you to step out of the vehicle. All righty? Come on over here. You're not in any trouble right now. So, tell me what's going on.
She just gets worked up sometimes, and I try and really distance myself from her. So, like, I lock the car and I walk away from her. What happened this morning is that she's trying to start up like her own little website blog and everything. So I give her time. And we really had.
I will say right now, you are in a woman's world as of right now in this chat. I apologize. But when I first started this, the very first time when I watched it with all of you guys, when he said those words, her little blog, oh my gosh. I mean, I'll just leave it at that. Just throwing the word little in front of anything, like, oh, look, you in your little car. Oh, look at you in your little book. Oh, look at you in your little website.
Had a nice morning, if anything, but she just got worked up because you're trying to get going and get our day going because you want to go like arches or something like that. Okay.
You want to tell me about those scratches on your face?
She had a cell phone in her hand. That's why I was pushing her away, because she wanted me. I locked the keys so I could walk away. I said, let's just take a breather and let's not go anywhere. Let's just calm down.
Who else caught that? He said she had her cell phone in her hand and I was trying to walk away. And in the police report, it said that they were fighting over a phone. I don't know if anybody else have thought this, but I'm thinking, what if she started recording him? So us women that are, into TikTok, we will find ourselves in algorithms that will show you representations of narcissists or show you representations of OCD or ADD. And it may be pushing it onto some people that have these idioms already, but or like they want to be sick already, but for the people that it's relevant to, you'll listen to it, right? I feel like she may have already noticed that he was getting weird, and she started recording him, or as Melissa's wife saying, calling for help or trying to call her parents. I think that's why they were fighting over her phone. And I think when he says he was trying to get away from her, I think she was recording him. But that's just me. Lucky 13, I don't mean to post the video of him, but to have proof. Some of these videos that I've seen, they'll tell you like, oh, because I grew up with a family full of narcissism. I mean, chock full. And I'm not even going to call out names. There's all of them. Who? All of them. So when I watch these things, it's triggering and I like to learn. And I remember thinking, gosh, I wish I would have recorded it, because they made you feel so crazy. They would say something to you and then you'd say it back to them. They're like, that's not what I said. And you're like, yeah, that's what you just, are you serious? And I wish, like, I wish I could have recorded, like, so when I tell them now and they say, I don't remember that. You're like, what do you mean you don't remember it? Like, that was a major part of our life or whatever.
Come down from it. She worked up. And then she had her phone trying to get the keys. So that way, I was just trying to, I know I shouldn't push, but I was just trying to push her away to go, let's just take a minute, step back and breathe. And she got me with her phone.
Can I see your hand? Oh, you got a mark right here.
Oh, that's from a wire.
That's from a wire?
Yeah.
You want to tell me about hitting that curb?
Hitting the curb was her grabbing the wheel.
She grabbed the wheel?
Yeah. She said, I can't believe we're getting pulled over. And then she grabbed the wheel.
What about the speed? Did she take over the...
No, I
over the pedal on you?
If I was going fast, I'm sorry. No, it's probably just the moment of, like, I'm still shaking now. The adrenaline, seeing the lights flashing up, and then her gripping the wheel. So if I sped up, I'm sorry about that. But if I was speeding beforehand, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, you took quite a bit.
So if I sped up, I'm sorry about that. Oh, it's no problem. No problem. I got nervous. There was a cop behind me, so I sped up. And then she grabbed the wheel. She had to get his attention and grab the wheel so he'd stop for the cop. How is that not questionable?
Didn't catch up to you. So,
yeah, I'm sorry about that. We're just going into the park again to get water because we have a 6-gallon water container to fill up. So we're just grabbing water for the hike. Okay, and I was trying to keep everything calm and quiet because there's plans still to go for a hike. But I'm sorry about that. Of course.
Do me a favor. You want to go ahead and just take a seat right over here on the curb for me?
And if I was speeding, I'm sorry.
You don't have anything in my pocket or anything like that, do you?
Nope.
Just the wallet? All right. And then, do you mind lifting your shirt so I can check the waistband?
I got
turn around for me real quick.
Okay. Nothing.
I just want to make sure. That's all, man. Go ahead, do me a favor, take a seat. All right. Oh, do you have your ID on you?
In the car. If you want to come with me?
No, we'll just do this. Just go ahead and take a seat.
You come with me. I'll give it to you.
Oh, you're fine. What's the first name?
Brian.
Brian. Is that layman spelling?
B-R-I-N. Yeah, and L-A-U-N.
And then your last name?
L-A-U-N.
L-A-U-N.
B-R-I-E.
Lima Alpha Uniform November Delta. All right, just hang tight for me. SO229. I need a 29 name and date of birth. First name Brian, layman spellings, last name Laundry. Lima Alpha Uniform November Delta Romeo India.
Stop.
Bravo, Romeo, India, Alpha, November. And then what? And his reaction was to do what? It's gonna be out of Florida. He was grabbed you. Did he hit you though? I mean, it's okay if you're saying you hit him. I understand that he hit you, but we want to know that he actually hit you. 'Cause, you know, where did he hit you? Don't worry. Hang on.
She almost told on him. She was like, I guess if you want to say, I guess, she was going to say, like, I guess of him grabbing me by the face and grabbing me by my arm, because she pointed to her arm, she was going to say, I guess that means he hit me. But then again, she remembers she's got to drive back with this guy. So people are saying, she had to live, she had to do her blog. She lived this lifestyle for her blog and all that stuff. But at some point, Gabby must have told her mom that it wasn't going to be it with Brian, because her mom is adamant that they aren't engaged. I heard a reporter tell her, or somebody, I forgot who it was, told her, now we know that they were engaged because they're saying it in this police body cam. I have a feeling her mom told her, she told her mom, it's not going to work out. As much as people want to believe that she was going to live this lifestyle to the end, this was her. The van stuff, it was pushed on by him, but this is her. This is her aesthetic. The van was hers. They fixed it up together, but in the end, the blog was hers. Most of the stuff was on her page. It looked like she was the one that was going to get the sponsorships. According to him, it's her little blog, and she says he didn't think it was going to take off. So he just wants to force this lifestyle on her. She's forced to live with him, and when she decides she doesn't want to live with him anymore, guess what? He loses that whole entire lifestyle. He's not just going to lose the girl. He's going to lose the pictures. He's going to lose the credibility. He's going to lose the van life. He's going to lose all the work that he put into that lifestyle with her. Because she was going to leave, and she was going to leave with it. It's not a divorce. That van is hers, free and clear. When they would get home, they would have been separated. Rumors are that he went back home and packed her stuff into a storage. And they're saying they're rumors, but I'm saying it sounds legit, because his family's kind of just brushed her off like we have nothing associated with her anymore. I feel like if maybe they had her stuff in their home, they'd probably feel closer to her, or they would feel more responsible. Her mom doesn't even know where her stuff is. That's telling me that it's not even in their home. Her mom said she doesn't know where the stuff is.
Did he hit you though? It's okay if you're saying you hit him. I understand that he hit you, but we want to know that he actually hit you. 'Cause, where did he hit you? Don't worry. Hang on. You slapped your face or what? Yeah. Go ahead. Okay. So has he been drinking? Okay. What was up with his driving? I saw that he hit a curb.
I
While you're driving? While he was driving, you were hitting him?
Come on, I kind of
Did you already tell him all this? I didn't get that far into it. She was hyperventilating. She's saying that they don't drink, but at the point when you lit them up,
you don't drink or anything. I was yelling at him, and then when he turned your lights on, I kind of punched his arm like this.
So she's saying it was like hit the curb. You said it was Gabby?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I really thought it was Gabby.
Yeah.
Didn't get that far into it. She was hyperventilating. She's saying that they don't drink, but at the point when you lit them up,
you don't drink or anything. I was yelling at him, and then when he turned your lights on, I kind of punched his arm like this.
So she's saying it was like hit the curb.
You said it was Gabby? I'm sorry, I'm really bad. It was Gabby?
Yeah.
So she was yelling at him. The cop goes to pull him, or they go to pull him over after he's speeding. She's yelling at him, and then she hit him in the arm to call him stupid. But because she hit him in the arm, he hit the curb on the right.
Meditate stuff. But you tend to have a lot of anxiety and stress.
I have a lot of anxiety.
And what's his name? Is it Brian? Is he usually pretty patient with you?
Yeah, but it just makes me upset. I know that he definitely gets frustrated with me a lot.
So right here, she starts talking about how he gets frustrated with her a lot, and then they blank out whatever she said. Also, the FBI is asking her parents not to talk about the relationship. What is it right here that they blanked out? I don't know.
Way of taking my anxiety and bringing it down. But my ex-wife, I'm just trying to, I know it's a little personal, but help you understand. We would feed off each other's anxiety and spiral. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter how much I loved her. It may be bad for your soul. Just saying. I'm not telling you what to do with your life, but if you know you have anxiety, look at the situations you can get in. You know what I mean? And we're not here to be mean to you or anything. Well, you know, there's a first time, and then it usually. We'll go see what Brian's saying, but I think you've heard everything now from.
Quick question. You said you were hitting him in the arm. Did you grab the steering wheel?
No, I didn't.
You did not touch the
steering
wheel.
But only for like a second, because I just saw the lights come on, and it was more just like, you're an idiot. Like, you know.
But did you grab the steering wheel and swerve or anything like
No.
that?
I didn't touch the steering wheel at all.
I'm going to write close swear again.
She didn't touch the steering wheel at all. He said she did.
I will see if I can find something.
Okay, don't worry. Thank you.
You wouldn't have to have.
All right. People were saying that she looked dehydrated. And I thought, that's kind of a reach to say she looks dehydrated. But then when I heard it again, and I heard her say, do you have water? If you remember what his explanation was of why they were going somewhere, he said they were going into the park to get water. Does this mean he was making her drink stream water? Or because they had to go into the park because there's a store, like a general store in the park? I don't know. Because I know people that are like that.
Water, would you? I get a bottle. Did you already give a statement to this officer? I've got this gentleman here. Yeah. This gentleman noticed that you had some marks on your neck. Yeah. And she's got some marks on her too. We're just trying to figure out what all happened. And I know you probably already told the story. This officer is probably going to be the one handling the whole case. You want to listen to what he has to say, and and then you tell him what happened. So if you don't mind.
Start at the beginning for me.
Start at the beginning. Well, I don't want to go too far back, but we've been in Beyond Land for the past week or so traveling around, and the flies here are pretty intense. So the flies have definitely been getting to her, and then my feet are dirty and everything. So I think that our little squabble started because you're hanging out at the coffee shop, and when we got back to the van, there was some dirt and stuff in the van, and I moved our food around. It was a little disorganized, so she gets a little. Sorry about that. Do you need any water? That's okay. It's hot out. We were going to get water because we ran out, but it's okay. No, it's all right. I don't like plastic bottles. It's okay. Thank you, though.
So they did run out of water.
But we just had a little disagreement there. And the disagreement was just that she was getting a little worked up, and I was saying, "Oh, it's okay. Thank you so much." It's not my fault. That's good. So it was just more disagreement, and I just wanted to.
What was the disagreement about?
It was. I wouldn't even call it disagreement. It was just that I'm dirty, and I can't change being dirty. Like, I got dirty feet, I got sand in my flip flops and stuff like that. It was that we were at the coffee shop for so long because we were there from 9 to 3. So yeah, there's a few little things, little relationships.
So he was upset they were at the coffee shop from 9 to 3 because she was working on her little blog. And he can't change the fact that he's dirty or has sand in his flip-flops or his shoes. I call bullshit.
I'm in a good relationship.
I've been married for over 5 years now. So.
There's a lot of little things.
Yeah, I can go.
And we really we weren't physical before the point where I said, all right, let's just take a breather and like walk away for a minute. I'll lock the van up and I'll go for a walk this way, and you can go walk that way in the block. You know, there's that what is it called, moonflower? Right, yeah, nice areas. You can go either way. It's all shaded. So let's go for a little walk and breathe and come back. Just breathe. Yeah, we're happy with it. But I'm not upset with her. She got worked up and she had a phone in her hand and her keys and everything. And she wanted, not her keys, her rings, the phone. And I was holding on to the keys because I didn't want to go anywhere. And my big fear is, I don't have my phone. I don't have my phone. So she goes off without me. So, all right, I'm on my own. So I was saying, let's just go for a walk. And she was trying to get the keys for me. So I was just going, just wait back up. And that's what she did me. And I didn't get, I don't want to push you, but I didn't get overtly physical. I was just trying to keep her away and not get hit. And then I got really loud, and like that's probably everyone's attention where I was going, back up, get away, just give me.
Okay, so you said you pushed her to create some distance, obviously, right? What happened after that? What got the scratches on your eye?
The phone.
The phone. So you pushed her and she hit you.
She was. It wasn't like a push, and she jumped on me. She was already. I don't want to. She was already swinging, and I was pushing. Yeah, a lot of angles, a lot of nails, a lot of rings. Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
Sounds like he was keeping her phone away from her. How's that okay? How's it okay for somebody to be swinging at you because you have their phone? Yeah, I'm just going to assume that was a troll.
Three scratches in your neck. You got one on your left side of your nose. You got one in your face here, and you got 4 that are bleeding over there. So it's try to put some 2 hands. Do you mind lifting up your right sleeve for me? I'm curious about something.
Oh, okay. It's a little bit in there. I suppose fingernails, but I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining about
Is it bruised or tender or anything like
that?
No.
Okay. I'm fine. I look at it. I hope she doesn't have too many complaints about me. I'm just, I feel bad. I think it's so public. I was just trying to be loud. This is, try to make her calm down and be like, look, everyone's watching.
Do you mind lifting up your right sleeve for me? I'm curious about something.
Oh, okay. It's a little bit in there. I suppose fingernails, but I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining about
Is it bruised or tender or anything like
that?
No.
Okay. I'm fine. I look at it. I hope she doesn't have too many complaints about me. I'm just, I feel bad. I think it's so public. I was just trying to be loud. This is, try to make her calm down and be like, look, everyone's watching.
Trying to make her calm down. Like, look, everyone's watching. Stop. I don't know if you've ever Googled narcissist. Maybe you should Google narcissist. And if anybody's ever watched me, I don't throw out these things like that. But that is typical behavior of somebody that doesn't want to look bad. Look how you're reacting. Look how you're making everybody else feel. Or getting somebody to the point where they're freaking out so they can get everybody to look at them and say, look at them, they're freaking out. They're freaking out. Can you believe she's freaking out? Calm down, calm down, calm down. Calm down my ass. Oh yeah, I forgot to say that one. I hope she doesn't have too many complaints about me. I hope she doesn't have too many complaints about me. I can read between those lines.
I got a quick question for you, Ryan. Do you take any medications or anything like that? You don't take any medications or anything like that? Are you normally this kind of like hyper?
Do I see my heart rate up whenever the lights flash on? It gets your heart rate up. If I see my
Trust me, it does me too, and I'm the one that it gets me going.
Cop called him out. They blurt something out, and they're asking him, why are you acting speedy like this? And I'm not saying he's using speed, but he's acting hyperactive, and the laughter, there really is like the type thing about him going on right now, while his girlfriend is sobbing in the car.
I can say, hey, buddy, whenever somebody walks up.
So, okay. Yeah, do you know if she takes anything?
She's crazy. No, I don't think so. No, none that I know of.
Real fast, can I get your first name?
Gabrielle.
Gabrielle, how do you spell that?
R-I-L-L.
Your last name? B-E-T? Oh, P. I-C-O. You guys both live in Florida, right? Or that's where you guys come from?
My license is Florida right now, but I'm from Florida.
So that's where you have it out of currently. That's okay. I need a 29 for name and date of birth. First name Gabrielle, Golf, Alpha, Bravo, Romeo, India, Echo, Lima, Echo. Last name Petito, Papa, Echo, Tango, India, Charlie, Oscar.
It's almost coming to a point where they're done talking to them. So I will stop it right now. I don't want to get accused of just playing this over and over again. But I feel this is more important now that he's missing.
We're just kind of hanging tight for a minute. All right.
Florida, yeah, was our last. Still get down there. Four to 5 months out. I think you're tier up to 5. What was the determinants? What was the ending that's moving to a new place? We're going to Portland. So her grandmother's best friend lives in Portland. So we stayed there. So 2 years ago, we did a one-shot ski trip, which we loved. We were in Nissan Sentra, like a tiny little car. So I was like, let's do it better. And let's get a big van. This tiny van. But I said, let's try to do it a little better. And it's a racing fun, for sure. But you were going over to Portland, and I don't know if you're probably here from familiar with it. Have you ever heard of that? WWOOFING.
Yeah.
You got it.
I'm from California originally.
Oh, yeah.
So, and part of my job, I dealt with employees that were from all across the United States and Washington.
Did you see that? Watch again. Look how weird he gets.
Let's do it better. It's going to be band, big, tiny band for me. But I said, let's try and do it a little better. And it's going to be racing, but sure. But you were going up in Portland, and I don't know if you probably hear from one familiar. Have you ever heard of that? WWOOFING.
Yeah.
You got it.
I'm from California originally.
Oh, yeah.
So, and part of my job, I dealt with employees that were from all across the United States and Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada, everything you can think of on the 11 Western. I know most of them.
It's worldwide opportunities on organic farms. So it's like a volunteer work away type of situation where you can work on organic farms. So that's our goal once we get over to Washington. We'll do that from Washington, then down to Oregon, and down to California. What part of California is that?
I'm from town just outside Sequoia National Park.
If you're going to
be going through there,
we'll get good in the way about yours.
But no, it wasn't too bad at all.
One of those two witnesses reported it. You want me to tell you what he said? Yeah, real quick. You mind hanging with him for a minute? So, he said that he never saw the male strike the female. He saw the male trying to lock her out of the vehicle. She even told us that he was trying to lock her out, told her to go take a walk, so that she was trying to get in. She eventually couldn't get in and actually clawed her way in through the driver's door. He said, I don't understand why she's doing that. Well, I think it's because it was the only door that wasn't locked that she could get through. She's trying to get in over him. He's trying to disengage from her. I guess he hung her backpack on the back probably so she would have her shit. So he didn't have to engage with her. Everything she's saying is the same thing. I haven't heard what he said, but if that's what he said, it's also what the witness is saying. Told us he was trying to lock her out, told her to go take a walk, so that she was trying to get in. She eventually couldn't get in and actually clawed her way in through the driver's door. He said, I don't understand why she's doing that. Well, I think it's because it was the only door that wasn't locked that she could get through. She's trying to get in over him. He's trying to disengage from her. I guess he hung her backpack on the back probably so she would have her shit.
Say what? He held her backpack? He put her backpack on the back so she'd have her shit? She'd have her shit for what? For the walk? For the walk where, exactly? For the walk to cool down? Or for the walk back home? Why is he putting her stuff out? How did this cop hear that story and think that was okay? They're living in their van and he's locking her out. I don't know why she's jumping in through the window. And he just wanted her to take a walk and he put her stuff out so she could take a walk. He gave her a backpack of her stuff so she could have her stuff so she can get on. I bet you. And I bet you he wouldn't. I bet you he would do it again. But this time, he really came home without her.
He didn't have to engage with her. Everything she's saying is the same thing. I haven't heard what he said, but if that's what he said, it's also what the witness is saying. The witness says, I never saw him hit her. I saw him shove her, but I couldn't tell if it was an aggression against her or a defense against her as far as her, being the aggressor. So at this point, unless the guy's screaming that he needs to go to jail and did something to this girl, it sounds to me like she is the primary aggressor.
Yeah.
Now, the problem with her being the primary aggressor is in an instance of domestic assault, be it a male or be it a female, we shall arrest. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they have to go to jail. We can do a citation if it meets one of three criterion, which one of them is we can ensure that they're not going to further risk each other's safety. But the problem with that is they live in the same vehicle.
That's what I was going to say. The other part of it is
there was actually an injury to the victim, which is him.
Right. And I'm getting conflicting stories about why they hit the curb up here.
What did he say why he hit the curb?
Well, I watched, this is what I saw first. Saw him cross the double yellow. I was doing 42 miles an hour. I was, I don't know, probably 2 car lengths behind him, tapping my wheels at him, trying to get his attention. They knew I was behind him. And then after he crossed the double yellow, he merged over into the right lane, and then out of nowhere, just boom, hit the curb.
So did he tell you why?
He said that she grabbed the wheel and turned it real hard. She said that she was hitting him in the arm. So
Sounds legit. I mean, I'm sure.
Now we hear Gabby said she didn't touch the wheel at all. Sounds legit to me, for sure. No. I'm not saying these cops are wrong. I'm just saying in hindsight, now that we can watch the video, they got it all wrong. They got the situation wrong. It's not their fault. This guy clearly is pretty good at what he does. He's over here laughing with the cops while his girlfriend's freaking out, and he's got them thinking that she's just wigging out. Like your ex-wives, remember?
If I'm driving and my arm's on the wheel and I'm getting in the arm, I'm probably pulling out the wheel.
yeah,
And I'm sure it was a little of both. And usually the truth is somewhere between. He's probably trying not to say that he hit her because he probably doesn't want her charged with assault.
Yeah.
Domestic assault. He probably would rather say she pulled the wheel than hit him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, fortunately for her, we cannot treat, just because he's bigger and stronger, and even if he's not willing to press charges, we can't treat this differently than if it was a male on female violence. And we're going to have to charge her. And we can do a citation if there's some arrangement that can be made to separate them. And then we have to let them know that there's no contact order in effect. And we have to let him know the only way to drop is going to the police department during business hours and fill out a waiver, which, by the way, what's today? Thursday? So it won't be till tomorrow. I know they're till noon, I think. Yeah. Which I'm sure he's going to want to drop it.
well, the other part of it is they said that they've been on 4 or 5 months that they've been living out of this van together.
So this is really bad news. Let's talk to him first. Ryan?
Yeah.
Did you ask him yet to take pictures of him?
No, I haven't done any of that yet.
Ryan, unfortunately, in the state of Utah, we don't have discretion on some things. Like, for example, if I pull you over for speeding and I want to give you a warning, I can do that because it's under Class A. It's a Class B or under. If I want to give you warnings for all kinds of stuff, I can. But there's a few things I can't. Like when I say I, please, I'm not sure. One of the things that the state legislature doesn't give us discretion on is charges when it comes to domestic assault. And it sounds like you guys are living together, so you meet the statutes for domestic partners. And you do have injury, and both an independent witness, probably the next one we're going to talk to as well, which we haven't talked to yet, but the one we did talk to, and your own.
He shakes his head. Yes, I have injuries.
Clear that she was the primary aggressor, and that she was striking you, and you just received injuries. You have admitted to striking her. She has not admitted to striking her. The witness did not see you strike her. So at this point, you're the victim of domestic assault. That even if you didn't want to pursue this, we don't have a choice. The best thing we can do to not, the law says we have to charge her. Doesn't say we have to put her in jail. Okay, but it also says we have to separate. There's no contact order, and we have to put her in jail if we cannot separate. And there's no problem here. She doesn't want to Florida live in the bad together. How are we supposed to separate her? Now, I don't want to take this small 21 issue. With a 22-year-old blonde hair, you could definitely defend yourself against, but at the same time, we can't say because you're a male and she's a female, we can't treat this different than if you were a male hitting her. Or we got treated the same. Yeah, no. So she's kind of in a tough spot. So let's have an idea about how she can not go to jail and be separated. You have friends in town, somewhere she can stay. Tomorrow, if you want to, it's up to you. You can go to jail. You can't because we don't have to charge you. Now, tomorrow, if you wanted to be with her again tomorrow, take your break in. If you want to be with her again tomorrow, because after 5, so office is closed, you can go to the police department and fill out a waiver to drop the no contact order so you guys can still be together. But she's going to have a court date online. So she's going to have to show up for a court date online and answer. The prosecutor might drop it. They might say, for example, if you're not willing to pursue it, that's your decision. I was going to say, it definitely is. I'm not going to pursue anything. She's my fiance. I love her. She's so much problem. I'm sorry that I had to get so public. But so I just want to get like the checklist of things I got to do to get rid of it. So if there's not back.
Listen to why he apologizes to the cop.
Online. So they have to show up for a court date online and answer. The prosecutor might drop it. They might say, for example, if you're not willing to pursue it, that's your decision. Anyway, I don't say it definitely is. I'm not going to pursue anything. It's my fiance. I love her. It's so problem. I'm sorry that I had to get so public. So I just want to get like the checklist of things I got to do to get rid of it. So if there's an online court date, we'll still get a paper with a court date. I don't get rid of it. Well, the court date has to be attended in order for them to decide whether they need to continue or drop it. First, it's an initial appearance to say, are you who?
I want to get rid of it. Laughs. I needed the checklist of things that I can do to make this go away.
Pursue it. That's your decision. Anyway, I don't say it definitely is. I'm not going to pursue anything. It's my fiance. I love her. It's so problem. I'm sorry that I had to get so public. So I just want to get like the checklist of things I got to do to get rid of it. So if there's an online court date, we'll still get a paper with a court date. I don't get rid of it. Well, the court date has to be attended in order for them to decide whether they need to continue or drop it. First, it's an initial appearance to say, are you who we think you are? Yes. First, do you understand the charges brought against you? Yes or no? Yes or no, the answer. Do you have an attorney? Yes or no, do you need one? And then from there, she can ask to speak to the prosecutor. The prosecutor might be contacting you and say, hey man, I see 110 pounds soaking wet and you're a big strong guy, and you understand you're not even wanting to pursue this, the cops have to call the statute. How what word in the instance of you of justice for you as a victim, what do you think? And they can decide to still prosecute, or they can decide to drop it, or they can decide to give her a plea and make it kind of go away if she behaves somehow. But that still does not eliminate the first court appearance. But she has to attend, which thankfully for you guys is going to be online. You don't have to. So if you're out of town, here's the thing: if you're out of town and she doesn't come into her court appearance online, they can suspend her driver's license, they can issue a warrant for her. So she needs to play ball. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. And remember, me and her and her team. I'm sorry about all this. I apologize again. But so she's got her online court date. She's acknowledges her, and then she's got one for the. Well, there's automatically right now there's something called a no contact order in place. Yeah, from this point forward until tomorrow, if you wish to drop it, you have to go to the 217 East Center Street, Monthly Police Department. I got all the papers. And you have to ask them to give it. So you want to fill out a waiver, so you're requesting a waiving of the contact order, no contact order. No contact order means you cannot come into contact with you, you cannot talk to you, you cannot text you, you cannot go on any premises.
I swear I'm not trying to be facetious. And I know with saying that it's going to sound like I'm being facetious, but why is he wigging out that there's going to be a no contact order on her? Why is he trying to figure out how to get rid of it for her? People were calling her codependent, and in the police report it says she didn't want to separate from him. This to me seems like he was so concerned about getting back with her. I don't care. Just tell me how to get it. Just tell me. I just needed to go away. 5 p.m. tomorrow. He has to go to the courthouse or to wherever, the police department or wherever, to get it lifted. So that means he actually did it. Do you know how mad that probably made him? So public. So embarrassing. Look what you did. Where's that checklist?
And until you drop that, or until court date, if you don't drop it, it's even effect until midnight on day 4. And then that gives you time to get protection order, a long-term one if you feel like you need one. It sounds like you don't even want this one. So tomorrow, they open at 8. You can go to the police department, you can go on the waiver, they can remove it, then you can say, hey, babe, where you at? Let's pick her up. Pick her up. Now, we're hoping not to put her in jail, but she doesn't have somewhere to go tonight. Be separate from you. Then I can't talk to her now because it's separation, right?
Yeah. So tell me this. Do you guys have enough money for like a hotel room or anything like that? Because what we could do is we'd cite her for this, and then I'd give her a ride over to whatever hotel you guys is choosing. And on your way to go pick her up, you stop over there at the PD, sign the paperwork that they're requesting, and then you can go pick her up right
listen to someone else in town that's a friend, she can stay with. Yeah. You know, unfortunately not. I don't. And I guess that. Man, I sure hate to. I don't want her to go to jail. Well, if she goes to jail, it's like that goes down somewhere. Instead of her going to jail, if you get a citation. So if she goes to jail, they're gonna book her. They'll take her fingerprints. Yeah. Go on and then if they don't convict her, then it would just show that it was dismissed. It was show by criminal history, but the charge was dismissed. If she's found guilty, it'll show up that she's guilty. But the charge itself will show up on her criminal history until she gets expunged. Now, even if we give her a ticket, we're still going to take a fingerprint and it's still going to show up. Either way, it's still going to show up. There's no way around the Class A. Or is this Class B? This is Class B. But they do require a fingerprint on it. Yeah. So the other part is if you contact her or she contacts you, she can be charged with a Class A. Well, which is a little bit different, but it doesn't compensate. If you were to contact her and she responds to you, then she could get a new charge for violating the contract. No contact order doesn't restrict you, it restricts her. So if you go talk to her and we find out and you're not in trouble, she'll be in trouble. So you're interested. That all makes sense? No, I'm getting it all. It's a lot. Really quickly. I'm getting it all. I'm just trying to figure out a way. You don't know anyone in town? You guys been around long? No, I don't know anyone in town. If you went, I don't think CT will take it with the aggressor. No. There's a wing shelter. I'm curious. You can find out. Say, so where to go. If you did the citation, like say she drove up and then she could drive up in this car, we could give you a ride somewhere. Then I got my backpack. That's for you. I got my backpack. You can spend the night. You want to drive me to Delicate Art? Does she have a good driver's license? She's gonna get driver's license. Yeah. So she can do vehicle. Yeah, she can. Well, then you kind of be homeless for the night. And man, I can't talk to her at all. Well, and I've got to do the thing, so I can't go camping. You can tell her what it is that she needs to.
I really don't understand what he meant by she could go on with the van or something like that. And then he's like, but I can't contact her at all. And now because of the thing, I can't go camping. I feel like I'm watching Burke Ramsey right now. That's how I feel. That's what I feel I'm watching. People are like, does he have anything? And I'm like, I don't know. But he comes off as the kind of that eventually they'll be like, he had autism his whole life. We knew this. He was high functioning. I don't mean to make fun of anybody. I'm just saying this is how they always make him seem like, oh, he was timid like this because of this. When they turns out they were freaking monsters, allegedly. Because apparently Chris Watts, Scott Peterson, and all those guys that are evil but nice didn't do it. I think they did it.
Do to get through all this and then let her know what your plan is. Here's the problem though. We take you up to Delicate Arts. And man, I can't talk to her at all. Well, and I've got to do the thing, so I can't go camping. You can tell her what it is that she needs to do to get through all this and then let her know what your plan is. Here's the problem though. We take you up to Delicate Arts. You're going to be hoofing it from Delicate Arts all the way down to Moab Center Street so that you fill out that paperwork. Because if you're not there by noon tomorrow, you're going to be looking at Monday morning. It's early on Friday. Yeah. You'd be looking at Monday morning before you could actually see her again. Again, we're not trying to make your life hard. This is written statutes. It's not a lot of about it. It's designed to protect victims of domestic assault. Not everybody's the same. This is different than normal, but we have to treat everything the same. That's how it is. You can't afford a hotel. Well, very little money we have for sure. You want me to? I'll call Sea Haven. See if Sea Haven will take it for the night. I'll see if they'll take either one of them. Because then we can figure it out. Sea Haven take me? Oh. Actually, Sea Haven will take him as a victim of domestic assault. Sea Haven will take him. And they'll help you tomorrow. And you're like a block and a half away from the Petito. Let's see if Sea Haven will take him because they actually put up. Actually, they didn't take a guy, but they got a hotel for a guy last time. Yeah, I'll do that. Sea Haven might get you a hotel. Now, what she does, I'm happy sleeping outside on a sleeping night. No, I don't need it. I'm just saying, I think she will get you a hotel. If you want her to have fun, we don't care. It's up to you. But
Yes, this is Officer Robbins with Long City Police Department. How you doing this afternoon? Oh, not too bad, not too bad. So I just did a domestic, and the male is going to be our victim. Is there any way that you can help us set him up with a place to stay tonight?
So if the tables were turned and he was beating on you and you were shoving him, of course we're gonna look at it like, oh, of course she's defending one saying that he actually punched you aggressively. It sounds like it was shoving in a manner that was probably more. But
I'm not going to try and sit here and give you like five advice. You've been on this for almost as long as what I have. There's nothing I can tell you that's going to really make a difference. But at the end of the day, I'm sorry that this has happened. I'm sorry that it went to this extent.
no, I'm sorry. Can I get my key and make my little bag? If you can grab me something?
Yeah.
Is that all right?
Would you mind watching it for me? Yeah. Just if you don't mind doing it from over here, we don't want you to get hit in the road. Okay. So.
The witnesses say it was positive, like a slap. And you say you slapped him, I don't have anyone saying he actually punched you aggressively. It sounds like it was shoving in a manner that was probably more consistent with trying to make the man to get space from you, not to slap the face. So if the tables were turned and he was beating on you and you were shoving him, of course we're gonna look at it like, oh, of course he's defending himself away from this guy. We're kind of looking the same way with him. We have to take both very bigger. He was smart, you know. The law doesn't say, hey, Officer Crown, Officer Robbins, you can treat people different based on gender, and essentially you can. Even if it makes no sense, you probably would not physically destroy this man.
This is Officer Robbins. Hey, how's it going? That's fine. I'm still going to be here for a few minutes dealing with this, so we have almost as much time as we need. So his name's going to be Brian, Brian. Last name Laundry is Laundrie. In Laundry? Yeah, well, it's not Y, it's IE at the end. Yes. So they were at Moonflower, the organic grocery store down the street from you guys, and they got into a heated argument. Both of them were saying it was over petty stuff. He told her to take a walk so that she could cool off. She refused, broke into the car after he walked her out of it. She started trying to slap and scratch him. He pushed her away. They both got in the vehicle, took off, and I found them out here next to me. No. Well, we are charging her with domestic assault. So there's going to be a protection order set in place between the two of them until he's able to get over to the PD tomorrow, because he doesn't want to pursue it, but I don't have a choice in this, as I'm sure you are well aware. So he's going to be wanting to go over to the PD first thing tomorrow morning as they open up to get the protective order removed. But that doesn't fix tonight. Yeah. Sorry about that. Go ahead. Yes, they both have Florida licenses. Of course. Right. Well, the other part of it is we don't think it's very likely, but with her as the suspect in this, would you be able to put her up for the night? Okay. I had to make sure I at least asked. It's better safe than sorry. So I didn't know if that would make your life any easier or any tougher on it. So I know it's not super severe. I mean, you want me to call? I mean, I can call the EMS if you want me to. You don't seem like you want to go that far. If you want to take a photo, you can take a photo. Yeah, I need to take pictures for my evidence because otherwise it's going to be your say, let's say, my say, and the court's going on. So I have to do this part of it. All right. So it's just going to be a couple of pictures.
Microphone, do you know where it is? Yeah, that's coming from.
Yeah, just
go ahead. Go and tell me if you don't mind me pressing it. I can get it. It's like it's in a spot. Why don't I go with you? Where are we going?
I can grab it for you. It's in a spot. Her cell phone's in a spot. Do you think he hit it?
Right face. Yeah. One of his ring fingers, I think, has got a scratch on it. And you saw earlier. Yeah, I saw it. Well, I was trying to build some consistency between the stories. And then let me see your hand. Is that? Let me get your hand. That one. That okay. We'll go. Could have been a call. Or could have been a. I know you said this is from a wire, but I'm going to take a picture of it just in case I'll document that. Yeah, you're saying that's from a wire, not from her. It's just I want to document everything. You know? And then your right arm. Do you have anything on the other arm, on your back, chest, anything like that? Let me get your neck real quick as well. You want to kind of tilt your head off to the right and look up this way? And then I don't know. And then this is just for precaution. Do you mind lifting your shirt for me? We can go back here if you want some privacy. I want to, like I said, I want to do a very thorough job. I want to make sure that you don't have any additional injuries. You don't need to know about. I don't know how high. I'm good. You mind here? Put your collar down on me a little bit. And the other side. So I talked to my contact over there at ZKB. People that can help with hotel rooms and stuff like that are out of the office. I'm just playing phone tag with a couple people trying to get more lined up because certain people have access to the corporate card. He doesn't. So we're trying to get everything lined up. This is going to take us a few minutes to get that lined up, get her cited and stuff like that. Like I said, we're going to be handing her a piece of paper that has what's on it, date, stuff like that, and she'll be able to give you all that information. Okay. So, I'm going to hang tight. Well, yeah.
Okay, so I just realized something that's a little bit off topic, but of course it's not off topic because it has to do with this. If you look at this outfit that he's wearing right here, this is the same outfit that he was wearing in the last pictures that he posted on Instagram, the ones where he's alone. Now, he could have just reused the outfit. But I'm wondering, that's really weird. I never noticed that he was wearing the same exact outfit in this picture as he's wearing in those last pictures.
You want to go ahead and finish getting your stuff with this fine gentleman here?
She's got her cell phone. She's calling her parents just to feel better. She doesn't want to not be with him tonight.
There's no choice in the matter.
Yeah.
One other thing I wanted to point out is that if you go through the photos in Gabby's Instagram, in their videos, anytime they're eating with like really nice dinnerware. Like I almost want to call it like taterware, but they have forks that they're either biodegradable or they're wooden. They're like wooden forks. In the last photos of him on Instagram, where he's saying that there's no good prepackaged foods out there, and that's why he sticks to his banana peels and his peach pits and his melon rinds or whatever. He's eating the melon with a metal spoon. Where'd you get a metal spoon? You guys use forks. Was it from the hotel, or where did you get a metal spoon from? I'm not saying they couldn't have had metal spoons at all, but I feel like if they put enough effort to have like the wooden spoons in their pictures for salads and stuff, that's what they would have all the like for all their utensils. The only other like metalware that I've seen is knives. They had a few knives. I've seen 2 so far, but I thought that was weird.
So
that's another response like your sister said.
how far do you want to go? Right. Right. She went to smack him. Well, he's got a swollen right eye, scratches. So we gotta go find it. Was it intent and attempt, or intent or attempt? So if I intend, if I attempt to do that, all right. Right.
The only way you know is by asking.
Right. Gabby, this is a very, very important question. How you answer this question is going to determine what happens next. But the only person who can answer this question is you. Think very hard before you answer the question. Do not quickly answer. Think very hard. When you slapped him those times, were you attempting to cause him physical pain or physical impairment? Was that what you were attempting to do to him? What were you attempting to do? What was the reason behind the slapping and stuff? What was it you were attempting to accomplish by slapping?
I was trying to get him to stop telling me something.
Well, it doesn't sound to me like she attempted to injure him. It's your call. This is 100% your call. I support you either way. I'll let you get back to your own parents, okay? You would say that she openly admitted to me earlier that she was striking him in the eye. Or he said that she was striking him in the eye. He said she was, and that's what caused him to hit the curb. She said that she got hurt. I might have used too much stuff.
She said that too, but she started distracting him by hitting him, and then he probably looked at her, and that's why the mark found. When he said, she said it was her fault. She was distracted by but she said she didn't try to hurt him. It wasn't malicious. She thought that he wasn't listening to her.
So assault is an attempt with unlawful force or violence to do bodily injury to another. The code for bodily injury, the definition says, bodily injury is infliction of pain or physical impairment or illness. So you can go this now. I'm recording, and society and the judges and everyone can judge me for this. I am looking at a 110-pound female and her fiance who have no means to be separated. He doesn't want to pursue it. She's not a threat to him, more than slight abrasions from her fingernails. I don't care if we use the actual letter of the law to not charge, but I also don't care because it literally does possibly make perfect sense to go full-on domestic assault and do the whole thing. This is your opportunity to make the decision. Let's. All right, there we go. Can I get your phone number?
It should just be in like Zion.
Okay, do you have any problems with me taking a picture of it? I have to have IDs and stuff like that for my investigation. Here. So, this is what I'm going to do. I've decided I am not going to cite you for domestic violence battery, okay? It was only going to be a Class B misdemeanor. However, the domestic violence portion of it enhances it. Makes like a major pain in the butt, especially you're 22, right? So I'm choosing not to cite you today. So you are not going to be charged with it. All right? But this is what I do have to do. I am separating between you tonight. Okay? I want you guys both to be tonight away from each other, relax, breathe, crying, because there's no reason to be crying now, okay? I understand that this can feel like it's a nightmare, but you're coming out as the golden flower on top of it, okay? So, you're going to be taking the van tonight, and you're going to go somewhere else. I am going to get him lined up with a hotel room tonight. I want you guys to stay away from each other for both of you guys' sake. From what you told me and what he told me, you guys have a bunch of little things that are building up, and finally the little string that you guys were tight walking on broke tonight. Does that sound about right? So I just want everybody to breathe, get a chance away from each other, go eat a meal, talk to your parents, whatever it is you got to do.
In here? Yeah.
Just totally sorry. So, like I said, that's what I'm going to be doing tonight. Hold on. This is Officer Robbins. Oh.
I want you to see the turn of events here. She has been told that she's going to be separated from her boyfriend for the night. And he's telling her all these affirmations saying that everything's going to be okay. And she's yes, 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 yes. And then he tells her she's not going to be in trouble. And notice how she calms down. She stopped crying. She starts pulling it together. Because to her, it's like, this might be okay. This abuser guy might be okay with this now. This looks like it might blow over. We're just going to be separated for the night. And then we're going to be okay. He's going to get to go camping tomorrow. And I'm not going to get a cite. Because how worried was he about the citation? She is not even so scared that she can't drive the van. She was worried about the citation. Because as soon as he said that, she stopped crying. If she would have been super... she does get worried about the van. But it didn't make her hyperventilate. You know what I mean? Exactly. And she's spending the night alone in a strange place without any protection. Normally she'd be, I feel like she should have been freaked out, but I feel like she was actually looking relieved right there. Like there was some sort of resolution. She wasn't going to have to be with them that night. And, well, she's not going to get in trouble by him because she didn't get in trouble legally. Because you saw how worried that made him.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you, Phil. Is this your cell phone that I called? Okay. Okay. Well, go ahead and save my number into that phone, and I'll save your number, this number, into my phone. That way, I can contact the on duty after hours person. So, because I literally had to Google it. So, perfect. Thank you, Phil. I appreciate your time. All right. So, I've got him a hotel room tonight. So here in just a minute, I have to keep you guys separated. For right now, don't contact each other or don't wave at him. Okay? Do you want me to say anything to him? Because I can do that for you. You want me to, let him know that you love him and that you'll see him tomorrow and stuff like that.
And make sure he doesn't forget a phone charger. That would be good.
Oh, he's bad about that too.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make sure that he has a phone charger. Okay. And if I have anything else, please keep your cell phone on so I can call you if I have questions. All right. All right.
She said, make sure that he has his phone charger so she could charge his phone. Like, in other words, he's probably turned off his phone before. Like, totally dipped on her and turned off his phone before. That's what I got from that. He's so off the grid.
All right. So just kind of sit tight for me real fast. And then we'll talk to Brian. All right, Brian. A couple things. Couple things. One, I got your hotel room.
Thank you. It's getting outside. So I like the outside.
Number two, and this is probably the biggest one. She claims that she did not have intent to hurt you when she was slapping at you. So technically speaking, it does not fit the letter of the code. So I am not going to be charging her with DV. Exactly. So this is what I am going to do, however. I'm not going to release you guys together. I want you guys to stay away from each other tonight. Okay? She's agreed to it. Take some time to yourselves. You guys both have the exact same story as to what led up to the incident. So, taking some time tonight, specifically, taking tonight away from each other is going to be the major breaker in all of this. I think that will help you guys, especially tomorrow when you guys meet up. So she does have a couple of messages for you. One, she said she loved you. She's looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Two, don't forget to cell phone charger.
Yeah, good. He watched me fumble around the entire 3 laps, and I'm trying to find one.
Yeah, find one. Okay. The other thing is I don't want you guys to contact each other.
No,
okay, unless
when he said that she can text me or whatever, I was going to send her a message. Please don't message me, but I love you. But yeah,
but tonight,
don't do anything. Yeah.
She's passing on her love and saying goodnight and stuff like that. All that do stuff that I do to my wife.
He was going to send her a message that said, please don't message me, but I love you.
Wife too, okay? So
I appreciate it.
Just so don't just try to not contact each other unless, like I said, earth shattering, something happens, you guys have to jump in the car right now and drive back to Florida because something happened here. That kind of circumstance. There you go. Exactly. Other than that, just have a meal by yourself, catch your breath. You're going to be in a hotel room watching TV. It's probably been a few months since you actually got to sit down, relax, and some air conditioning and watch TV. So take some time to your guys' selves. Yeah, take a shower, man. You got to change the clothes. You got some Tonys in there, right? All right, good. Because they're going to have everything that you need to ship, all that good stuff. All right. Our main concern is make sure that you have self-control so you guys can get going. Okay? I really appreciate it. So I am going to walk her over here to the car. Okay? And if you'll just go stand over here in front of this pickup real quick, we'll get her out of here and I'll be right over here. All righty? Right. Absolutely. All righty, Gabrielle, you want to step out for me? As you can see, I have keys in my hand, which is good. Okay. So, something that I do that I emphasize to him, and I don't know if I emphasize to you or not. Don't touch each other tonight. He wants to pass on the same message you passed to him. He's really looking forward to talking to you again. But I told him and you, unless there's earth-shattering emergency news, don't text tonight. Okay. Even with the good nights, I love you. He's saying good night now. He's saying he loves you now, and you guys can talk tomorrow morning. Okay. He's gonna go to the hotel. I'm gonna give you the keys to the van. All righty. So here's that. I'm giving him a ride over to the hotel. Okay. So everything's gonna be okay.
Will it be a far drive for me to get him in the morning? I'm just curious.
I'm not gonna tell you where he's gonna be at tonight.
I know.
Like I said, I want you guys to be separated. But I can tell you this.
I just don't usually drive the van, so I just want to make sure it's not like far away.
No. It's up.
Okay.
It's basically from here to Moonflower. Okay. It's not far at all. So Let's get you in the van. Let's get you on your way. All righty. You want that Gatorade, by the way?
Okay.
You got enough water? Also, something.
In case you weren't here when I started this, I've been pointing out the water bottle thing for a moment. And I found it interesting that she was on her second water bottle. When she goes to leave, you notice that the first one wasn't empty completely. So that means when they asked her if she wanted more water, she said yes. And she's taking them and they're like, is that enough water for you? And she's like, uh-huh. I feel like he was depriving her. Like, I don't know.
Thing I want you to know. Here, stand over here real fast for me. If you go over to City Market, they have a list of places where you can get yourself a shower for like $4 or $5, something like that. They're pretty cheap. A place where you can shower, decompress, de-stress a little bit. Alrighty.
Yeah, I just showered yesterday at one of those.
Well, you didn't have today happen yesterday, so
No,
it does my wife wonders. When she gets stressed out, it's like, get in the shower.
It does
Get in the shower.
sound really relaxing.
Go take a shower, relax. Take some time for yourself, and like I said, don't text each other tonight. Text each other tomorrow morning after your eyes open up and you're fully awake at your morning routine, okay? All right, you have a good night, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Ready for a ride? My door's open. Just climb in the back seat for me. Yeah, you can put your backpack back there too. Thank you. I appreciate it. Sorry about that approach. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. It's all right. It was an interesting call in. So, thanks, Daniel. Daniel, by the way, I didn't formally introduce myself. I'm Daniel. I'm 59. So if you hear that, remember you know. Ryan. See, I give you guys all the time. So, what's your first name? It was nice meeting you guys. We'll see that. What's that? You like it?
And that's where I'm ending that douchebaggery. If you guys want to watch it later, I'll just tell you where we ended off. Is that Rob Zombie? Is that Rob Zombie? You like that? Cool. Let me show you my radio. I don't mean to make light of that situation, but how is that even freaking right? Stupid. How did they not see through that? I mean, have they... I'm not going to talk bad about law enforcement. Should respect the boys in blue. But I will say that their judgment right there was a little bit off. And obviously hindsight is 2020. We can say whatever we want now. We didn't know what they were feeling then, but they read that all wrong. So not sure if you guys saw this today. Oh boy, hold on a sec. This is just to help get a timeline so I can go on with my next rant. I'm actually going to talk after this.
Okay, guys, I had to remake my video. It seems like I had done enough TV, I would be good at this, but this is my first TikTok. This is in regards to the Brian Laundrie and Gabby, the missing girl. I had taken a trip the end of August from Louisiana up through Colorado and Montana and Wyoming. I picked a friend up at the Jackson Hole Airport on August 26th, Thursday, that morning, and we went through Jackson Hole. Then we went through the Tetons and Yellowstone. We came out the West Gate, and we stayed at West Yellowstone, Montana, for the evening. We went out to a restaurant that night called Bullwinkle's, and about 10 o'clock, we moved into the bar. There was us and another couple that we had met while we were eating dinner. We were discussing things, politics, guns, hunting, all the stuff you don't talk about in a bar. And there was a guy at the end of the bar that was just quiet. He was visibly bothered or mad, it looked like, when we came in. And I guess our conversation just kind of irritated that fact. When he finally made a comment, something about stupid Southerners and Republicans. And I kind of laughed and said, well, where are you from? And he said that he was from New York, in a pretty strong New York accent, and said his name was Brian. And I said, well, as we laughed, I said, well, you picked an odd place, the middle of nowhere, a small town in Montana. What did you expect, that you weren't going to run into any conservatives or Republicans? Anyway, not much else was said. He made a couple of remarks and we went back to our conversation. It was just a creepy encounter. It was one of those situations where it was kind of one of those people, it was almost like he looked through you. I didn't notice him using a phone, things that the FBI have asked. We did notice that he had a backpack. We left about 11:50 and he was still there. My friend was visibly uncomfortable. She even made a comment on the way to the car about serial killers and kept watching behind us to make sure he wasn't following us. And I assured her that it wasn't an issue. I mean, I'm concealed carry. I was actually armed when we were in the bar. And we went to the hotel. We did talk about it on the way home. It was odd. In the last few days, though, we've watched the news and realized that was the guy. That was Brian, this girl's fiance. So we contacted the FBI. Both of us made reports to the FBI, and just kind of watching the news now and seeing where it goes. But that was our encounter.
Thank you, Andrea Mitchell. And I apologize if sometimes I bring the facts too fast and bring them wrong. Like this guy right here. I don't know him. I can't vet him. But he's saying all this stuff and saying he talked to the FBI or whatnot. One thing I do want to point out is in the very first post I ever saw about Gabby, because Amber Truth Seeker did the first video I ever saw on her. And in the middle of her live, I was like, I'm going to the social media right now, like to record it. The very first post her brother put out was asking for help from Donald Trump. Not judging him. That's a pretty big influencer and he could help. But I immediately thought, Trumper. I mean, safe to assume. Families usually carry the same values, especially being from New York and Florida. I mean, she's from New York, but, also living in Florida, I feel like she may be a Republican. I have a feeling that this has something to do, that if this story is true, that resentment that Brian had is lingering. It's a lingering thing. It must be very hard to be with somebody. If he is liberal and she isn't, it must be very hard to be with somebody who isn't. Even if she doesn't push her ideas on anybody, just their family being Republican could get under your skin, be on your nerves. This last presidential season was heavy. I got unfriended by a lot of people, and I wasn't even making political posts. I try to stay out of all of that, but it's weird out there. And I think that if this story by this guy is true, he's saying, hey, Oz, if this story by this guy is true, that I think that could be like, unfortunately, if Gabby has passed and he did something to her, I feel like this is something you see in other cases, like where they have this resentment towards them and they kind of like, I don't know, they kind of like fester on it. And immediately when I heard that from that guy say that, I was like, oh no. Ari says only if he's controlling, and he is. So that's the next thing we were going to do right here. I almost started camera, and I'm not afraid of showing you guys my face, but that would have been an awkward angle. Just give me 1 second. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. And I swear, I am going to start going live at some point with my face showing. It's just, for me, everything has to be perfect. And I now have like the green screen and just, I feel like everything had to get set up perfectly for me to even do it. But one day I'll get my hair done and I'll go live and I'll show you guys my My pretty face. All right, let's see.
Yosemite, which is
I'm sure you guys all saw this, but this is still important to watch. So I'm very sorry if I'm repeating things that you've seen. Especially if you watch my channel and now you're like, you're just replaying everything you... Yeah, I did. I am. But I think it's important. Especially to play it all together. Okay.
Roughly 2 years ago, I got a message on Bumble for friends, and it was, you seem so cool. I want to be your friend. Can we be friends? And I was like, of course. And from there, we started hanging out every day. And it's kind of weird to say I met her on Bumble for friends. People always laughed at us for that. But hey, glad she came into my life.
And how was your friendship? What did you do?
Well, our favorite thing was this ice cream shop that unfortunately I just found out yesterday closed down. But that was our first go-to. And then other than that, we were pretty like just kind of chilling all the time, you know, just hanging out and talking. And she came everywhere with me. We joked around and said she was my, what do we call her? Emotional service human, because everywhere she went, just always cheering me up, you know.
And how soon after you first met her did you meet Ryan?
It was about the second time we hung out. I went over to her house, either second or third time, and he was hanging out there, and yeah, that's when I first met him.
What was their relationship like? Or what is their relationship like?
Thank you. On the outside, he's very charismatic, so it seems very loving, and there's no doubt in my mind that she loves him, and I know that, and from how I've always seen it, he loves her. Of course, like any relationship, there was arguments, and she come stay at my house when there was arguments just to like get away from it, you know, and I didn't ask most questions because if she wanted to tell me, she could tell me, you know.
How many times did she come and stay with you?
I couldn't give a number, but I mean, within the first year, I mean, I want to say at least 7 to 10 times.
Do you remember any one particular incident that she was particularly upset about?
Yeah, well, we were supposed to go line dancing. It was ladies' night, and her drive is about 30 minutes to me. And halfway there, she realized her ID was missing. And so it caused a really big argument because Brian just didn't want her to go out. And it was a jealousy issue. And it caused a huge argument between them. And she came over and cried and just talked to me about what happened and told me all that she was comfortable telling me.
Did you feel that their relationship was getting more problematic?
I do believe that their relationship, as they kept going on, was getting a little, problematic. I mean, just seemed like there was more and more arguments, and everything she did, I feel like, you know, he thought was wrong. And even as she said in the body cam, he didn't even support her with her blog, which that's not what a fiance or boyfriend does. They support you with anything you want to do, and that in itself, you know, made me feel like it just continued to get worse.
Brian is not talking to the police. What's your message?
I just wish him and his family would realize how serious it is, and my friend's life is at stake, and I would really just appreciate it if he would speak up. And he saw her last. If he says something, he has more information. Even just one little thing gives us a place to start. And I just wish he'd say something. If anybody knows or sees any information or thinks they have any information, please say something. We're relying on you to say something. That's all we can do right now is hope that people say something. I want to find my friend.
Gabby's godmother, and she traveled to New York to be with Gabby's mother tonight, and she is joining us live this evening. Flora, it is good to see you again. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Thanks, Marnie. Good to see you too.
We just watched that body cam video of Gabby and Brian. Gabby is clearly upset. You've seen it as well. Is that the Gabby that you know?
No, it's not. But then again, I didn't see her right after a fight. And it's heartbreaking to see, someone that you love and someone you've known their whole lives, crying and being that upset. And it took a toll to watch that video today. It really did.
I'm sure. The letter from Gabby's parents to Brian's parents also was heartbreaking, them pleading for answers, asking, are we even looking in the right place? Where is the family pulling their strength right now, hitting so many frustrating dead ends?
Strength is coming from the rest of the family, really. All of us that have rallied together. Also, the entire nation. Thank you so much. Everyone's really on board with this. Everyone is really contributing a lot. All of you guys on the internet, on Reddit, all my friends from here, there, everywhere. Everyone's getting in touch and everyone's helping, except the people that have to really help, which is wildly frustrating and honestly very weird. And Brian needs to talk now. And by now, he needs to talk yesterday. And by yesterday, I mean, he should have talked September 1st.
Police have asked the family to stop sharing information about Gabby and Brian's relationship. Did they tell the family why?
They didn't tell us why. I guess they have their own reasons or whatever investigation they're now doing, according to now having to do with this tape that's been released. But no, we don't know why.
Flora, there's so many intricate details in this timeline of Gabby and Brian's journey. There are questions about this text message that apparently Gabby's mom, your friend, received from Gabby. It was kind of ambiguous. It said, no service in Yosemite. That text was on August 30th, the last text that Gabby's mom received. If not Gabby, who does Gabby's mom and the family think sent that text?
So we don't know, but there's only one other person that could have her phone. Maybe someone else did, but we don't really know. It just didn't sound like a Gabby text. Also, it mentioned Yosemite, which is another, I think, 300 miles in the opposite direction, which also did not make sense for their itinerary. So I don't know if it was a mistake or it was autocorrected or no one really knows, but I will say that Gabby's mother does not think that was Gabby texting.
Flora, as we watch these images of Gabby smiling and laughing, she is described as someone who is full of life, full of energy. You know her so well. What would you tell her tonight if you could speak to her?
Well, I've already spoken to her many times. And I think that I want to use this time right now to just call out. I'm a bartender, and all my bartenders, I know what happens in a bar. And I want you to keep not only your eyes open, but also your ears. So if you hear any chatter, all my bartenders out in Wyoming, out in Utah, out in Montana, if you hear anything at all, or you come across a story or a person or just someone saying something, call that hotline, because that hotline is anonymous. And if you're feeling kind of kooky and you feel a little weird about it, don't worry. They're not going to ask you anything about yourself. You can give in any tip that you hear at all. Also, my hiking people, you guys are a dope group. And I really think that your community can help us as well. If you see anything on the trails, if you see a phone, if you see anything that could be of interest, again, call that hotline. You're not going to have to say who you are.
Every piece of information critical. The nation tonight helping in the search to bring Gabby home. Flora, our best to the family. Thanks again for talking to us.
So yeah, I thought that her aunt's shout out right there was kind of dope, where she was just like, she knows where the gossip is at. She knows where you can get information. I don't know how many cold cases have been solved in a bar. So it may have sounded off a little bit because at first I was like, wait, what? And then I was like, oh, yeah. She asked what she had to say to Gabby, not her. She asked what she had to say to Gabby, not her bartenders, right? I mean, I agree, but I felt like she took that moment and when you're on national TV like that, I guess you don't really know that you have like such a small amount of time to talk. So she sounded like she was about to get cut out. So she was like, "We got to mention that I need to call out my brothers and sisters at the bar." I thought it was really smart too. I don't know how many cases I've heard that got solved at the bar. Sometimes it was 20 years later, but it happened. One other thing is when they were asking the friend, about what he would do, she said at one point he took her license out of her wallet and she didn't notice until she got far away, and then she still went to her house and cried about it. But can you imagine somebody taking your license out of your wallet when you're headed somewhere? The anxiety that can give you, the stress it can give you, and then you're arguing that person that did that to you. I bet you he still got into a fight with her over it. That sounds like he was just so abusive. She said that she could think of 10 times. I'm sure she could think of more where they had some type of interaction that was negative. That's, with that being said, that happens in relationships, especially they were 22 and they had been together sometime in high school, separated, and then got back together. That's still a long time. That's like 3.5, almost 4 years. I bet you he treated her like a child, and you can almost tell by the way everything happened in that body cam. And I know I'll probably get judged for playing it all over again, but I think that it's really important to see the dynamic of how the relationship was. She was meek, and you could tell that she's outdoorsy and she likes the aesthetic of camping and stuff, but she still had, like in his last post, he's talking about that trees don't need an Apple Watch or plastic. Or caramel macchiatos. You can see Starbucks in her drinks. You know for a fact that she didn't mind not roughing it. She stayed in a hotel for several days during the last days that we actually know of her. She stayed in a motel for several days, and at one point she asked her dad for Uber Eats. Not saying that outdoorsy people can't ask for Uber Eats, but I feel like that was something that would have pissed him off. So I don't think he was there. Whatever happened in the last few days is obviously the most important. They were seen in a store by a woman. They were seen at the hotel, and then her mom saw her on the 25th. By the 27th, he was seen alone, but Crazy Crime Chick has seen that there is a post liked by her on the 27th on one of her friends' Instagram pages. So, did he make it home in 3 days? It's just so crazy. You think she was covering for him out of fear? Absolutely. When they're questioning her, the whole time she was just so scared that she was going to have to. I can imagine that she was just so scared that tomorrow when she has to be with him, everything's going to go down. Shit's about to go down. And she wasn't ready to handle it. I don't think she was. And 13 days later, she goes missing. This is just ridiculous. We know. That's why this morning when I got all emotional over thinking that he had died, I was like, because we know what's going on. We know what happened. Unfortunately, this is a case where if Gabby's not hurt somewhere, we know that he did something to her. And this guy has this weird preoccupation with trying to control other people. You can tell in his posts where he's talking about plastics and stuff like that. Like, who cares? I mean, in her last 2 posts, the ones that you can almost for certain tell that he wrote them, it's calling saying something like conglomerate, like about conglomerate plastics, and just this big ol' like anti-government, anti all that stuff. But I mean, could this kid be any more privileged? He lives in a country where they keep kids in cages, and he's over here roughing it because he wants to. Like, he's just so bland. He doesn't even know it. He's completely ordinary, and he doesn't know it. I don't think so, Sandy Beach. He had no idea. He definitely does act act weird. And Chris Watts acted weird. I'm not going to say he acts exactly like Chris Watts, but I definitely get the vibe that people are talking about. Shut up. You said rant. What else am I supposed to do here? I'm watching all of this and reading into all of this way too much. But when I watch that body cam video, I see way more than her having reacted and hit him. Do not come in here trying to tell me she was the abusive one. He did not look scared of her. I don't think he looked scared of her. In my opinion. What did they say? I saw one that said something about jealousy. In the body cam video, he put the keys in his pocket when they were taking pics of his hands. Yeah, they eventually had to give him back to her, but I don't know if you saw, I was circling in the body cam video that they're standing in front of the van and he has the keys and he's like basically swinging them in his hands and he just can't stop playing with them. And it made me think of that thing where they say, like, if you have your wedding ring and you spin it, it's because you're unsure of your marriage kind of thing. That's what it made me think of, honestly. I was like, why is he doing that? Like, is it a fidget spinner? How old are you? Like, can't you stand still? Is he really... They had to ask him if he was on something. He was acting very weird, and I don't know how it's just like, oh no, that's fine. He can act like that. Because she got emotional and loud, she's in the wrong. Look what you're doing. That's what he told her. Look at what you're doing. What an asshole. Hate him. I really do not like this guy, and right now all we know is that they're searching for him in the area where he told his parents he last was, and apparently they went and picked up his car there. If you don't understand, have you guys seen that? Have you guys seen that guy's press conference from this morning, the police representative? Let me pull it up real quick. It is ridiculous. It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. And people are trying to say that they're looking for him more than they are they're looking for him more than they are Gabby, and I feel that way too. I've only heard one person say that they've seen a grid search. It was one witness said that he saw a grid search being done in Grand Teton or whatever, Teton. But all of this is going on. They literally have like a big old search party going on for him. Doesn't make any sense. Obviously, they're going to look for him because they need to find Gabby, but what do they know that we don't know, that they're not even making it seem like they're really, really, really looking. Okay, let's see.
An opening to...
She was sitting in the car so gently sobbing. She didn't even want to act like she was reacting. I did it wrong again. This was the most frustrating thing to start the morning off with, and then that whole rumor thing happened, and yeah, it's just a bad day.
So we've got about 50 law enforcement personnel back here in the park. This is kind of an opening to more than 25,000 acres that are over here into the Carlton Reserve. So obviously it's a vast area. Seems like that's nothing new in this case, but that's what's going on here. We got 5 different local agencies, including the FBI, helping us with it.
What is the hope that Brian is actually out here still, especially since the parents haven't seen him allegedly since Tuesday?
We're hopeful. We're hopeful that he's, out here. Certainly we prepare for all different possibilities. But our goal is to locate him and bring him back to Northport.
What makes you think it's this area that he might be in?
His family says that this is a place that he frequents. They also believe that this is where he came. And again, this is according to them.
And does he like to hike in this area? Like, what does he do here?
That's my understanding. That's what they believe. They believe that he came out here on Tuesday.
And what exactly did they tell you about what happened on Tuesday? Was it in the evening? Like he walked out? Did he say anything to his parents?
He had his backpack. He said that this is where he was coming.
And did he say why?
Not that I know.
Why did they wait until yesterday to tell you that this?
That's a great question. You know, we've obviously been trying to reach the family and them to get answers in this case since Saturday. The first time that we've had any in-depth full conversation with them was yesterday. Their attorney called and said the family is concerned about Brian's whereabouts. They would like to file a missing persons report.
Has the federal agency aided in any way with regards to cell phone tracking?
Of course.
Does that bring you here along with what the parents say?
I do not believe that's what brought us here. I believe that we're acting. Some of that stuff takes time to get all of that. We've been working on that for basically where they've been for the last 3 weeks. So certainly over the last 12 hours, I don't know that we've been able to triangulate that, if you will. But we are certainly, at this point, we're going by their word. We're going by the family's word of where they think that he's at. We believe that his vehicle may have been here too.
And when the family said yesterday that he had this Tuesday, did they say that he was here yesterday? Or is this something they just told you guys today?
They said the last time they saw him is when he came here.
You mentioned this vehicle. What about the vehicle? Was the vehicle found on site?
It was not.
It was not. Where was the vehicle found?
It was at the laundry's home.
At their home?
Yes.
Well, you said that they thought that he was in his vehicle.
Right.
So, I mean, if it was at their house, why would they think that?
I mean, look, we're going by their word. We believe that vehicle did make its way from here back to that house.
Do we think his skills could maybe be more of a challenge since he's used to being outdoors and it's so rugged out here? Could he be deeply affected?
Yeah, I mean, these are people that were living off the grid in different areas. You know, I don't know how frequently if he would come out here and do, you know, day-long hikes or whatever. I mean, it's you could be out here for months if you wanted.
You've got the vehicle tracked here and then he found it back home. Is there any indication that there might be somebody aiding him in his attempts to evade?
Any indication?
Any indication that maybe there'd be somebody else that
I mean, I
brought the
think,
car
you
back?
know, we have to go by what they're telling us at this point. Certainly, we are looking at, you know, to corroborate all of the information we've received.
And what day did the vehicle leave the house and what day did it return? Was that all on Tuesday?
I believe it was Tuesday. I actually, as far as it coming here, I do not know the date that it was returned.
And what type of vehicle was it?
I believe, you know, we're getting into some things that I think I certainly have not had a conversation about what I can say and what I can't. But we know the answer to that.
With the search operation, with thousands of acres and heavily wooded, what obstacles are you guys facing out here?
Well, you just named it, right? I mean, it's wooded, it's been wet, it's hot, but, you know, I mean, we have drones up, we have four-wheelers, you know, and we've got 50 people who are used to dealing with these types of elements. I mean, most of these folks are from Florida and know what it's like.
And this sounds like something that could have probably solved a lot quicker if people would just talk to you. But
Man, you got the good questions today.
Family, I guess.
Yeah.
Or if he's even watching this, what would you say? I mean, it's like a
Sure.
bunch of questions.
Well, I mean, this is where we're at. I mean, that's the bottom line. You know, our job is, you know, Brian is a resident of this community. Brian was not a suspect in a crime. Brian was a person of interest and a missing person. You know, we're not following him everywhere he's going. You know, there's been some of that, you know, that conversation floating out there, and that's just not how it works.
Could you tell us how it works for those that don't know?
No, I can't tell you exactly how it always works, but you know, what I know is that, you know, were we trying to keep an eye out kind of where he's at so that when needed we could, you know, potentially reach him? Yes. But, you know, our focus was putting resources on trying to find Gabby. We knew that look, Brian wasn't willing to talk. That was abundantly clear. We were attempting. So we were putting our resources on trying to find Gabby. We knew we would deal with Brian eventually, but this is certainly a twist.
Is there any concern, especially since the parents withheld this information, that this could be just another decoy, maybe a way to throw you off for a little bit while he moves on?
Well, I'll leave that speculation to you guys. You know, don't forget. I mean, you know, I don't know. I've never had a missing child in my life, but I think you get to, you know, a point of concern, whether that be a day, 2 days, 3 days. I think that depends on the individual and the circumstances. Remember, I mean, Gabby's parents, it was a significant amount of time before they became concerned. I can't fully answer it.
And did the parents say anything about Gabby last night, or did they only want to talk about Brian?
Their attorney was on the phone with us and, was giving them counsel as we spoke, and all of the conversation was only about the whereabouts of Brian.
Is there any chance Gabby's with him?
No, I have no information that is.
So you mentioned
Even
earlier
likely.
today there was canines out there. They had some articles of clothing. Can you tell us a little bit about
Yeah,
that?
so we've received a couple questions overnight about, there was some things taken out of the home yesterday during the, this missing person investigation, and those were articles of clothing for our canines to be able to get a scent.
That's a little bit. You got asking, with a person of interest, you want to talk to him, but he wouldn't communicate at all. He didn't want to talk to you guys at all. For those thinking, why not just arrest him or bring him in and force him to talk to you?
We don't have a crime. We're looking for somebody. I mean, that's it. I mean, we can't go just pulling people in. He certainly has the Fifth Amendment not to speak. We're respectful of that. We get it. We're frustrated. Just a couple more, please. I'm sure I could get here all day.
Fifth Amendment right?
That's a technical question. I think that's accurate. When you go to the door and you say, "Would like to? Are you willing to speak with us about what's going on?" And they say, "Here's the name and number for our attorney." I mean, I don't know if they actually said that physical words of that. But
Can you tell us the name of it?
that's been widely publicized. I don't have
Any
that.
chance that the family thinks he's suicidal?
I don't know that I'm comfortable saying that. I think we can, anything's possible.
Can you speak to some of the tactics? I know there's canine units and different things that are going on. Just what you guys are using to search this
Sure.
area?
So we've got 5-6 different agencies that are out there. We've got 50 plus folks. We've had drones in the air. We've got bloodhounds, canines, four-wheelers, side-by-sides, certainly out there. It's very wet.
Who's leading the search?
We are working in conjunction with the FBI to lead this investigation.
We saw airboats being used earlier. Is that part of the investigation as well?
Actually, I have not heard the word airboat. It's possible. This canal that runs, is that where you saw them right here in this canal? Yeah. So what they did is they started the search kind of in the park area. Certainly most of you are not familiar with this park. It's about 200 acres. And then there's a bridge which crosses over into the Carlton, which is about 25,000 acres. So the initial focus was on the 200 acres here and then spreading out there.
Do you have an estimate of how long it would take to search that entire
Oh.
2,500?
I do not, but you can imagine a long time.
What do you need for this to become a criminal investigation?
I think we would need official confirmation of a crime.
And would you classify this as a grid search?
Yeah, I think that's probably fair.
This is where he entered. Can you describe the conditions that your teams are in right now and will be in for the next
It's muddy. It's wet. There are a few unpaved dirt roads that are out there, basically running along power lines. It's a place that people hike. There are mountain biking trails out there. The Myakkahatchee Creek runs from Myakka City, runs down basically into the city. It's also diverted along these man-made canals that are over here.
It's believed that he entered from here.
Correct.
Does Brian own a gun?
I cannot speak to that.
Is there any reason that people that live nearby or people that may be in the park should be concerned? Or what advice do you have for them?
Well, I mean, there's 50 law enforcement officers out here, so it's probably the safest place in Northport. I don't have any information that other people's lives are in danger.
Is the park closed to the public?
It is.
At the moment, do you believe Brian might be in danger?
Sure. I think that's fair to say. I mean, you have somebody, there's an enormous amount of pressure, I'm sure, on him to provide answers and what's going on here.
What was his emotional state when he left his parents' house?
I don't know.
What was that? What was that? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, Josh. Did you know anything? Really, though, that was just so frustrating to watch this morning. Today's just gone to shit. Just gone to shit. All right, so I'll just play this. This is the search for Brian. This is just an aerial view search for this guy that's on the run while his girlfriend's missing. And instead of looking for her, he runs away. Somebody said earlier he won't even let her have this. He won't even let her be missing on her own. He had to take that from her too. And I thought, I laughed and I felt bad for laughing, but seriously, what more? How much more could he mess up the search for her than go missing himself? Like, tell me you're trying to divert something without telling me you're trying to divert something. Also, one thing that we've been speculating recently, especially Phoenix Rising, and I mean, he is probably hiding. If he's not gonna off himself, he's probably hiding until he heals from whatever happened. Because if Gabby looks feisty. So, let's see. 1 hour ago, according to ABC7, mysuncoast.com, search for laundry called off for the night. Efforts will continue Sunday. So, the search for Brian Laundrie has been called off due to darkness. Northport spokesman Josh Taylor says efforts will continue on Sunday. ATVs, drones, blood-sniffing dogs, and pickup trucks were all at the scene today. What scene? Dozens of law enforcement officers were searching for Brian in a vast reserve. His family said he entered earlier this week. Laundrie is a person of interest in his girlfriend Gabby's disappearance after he returned from a cross-country trip with her. Northport spokesman Josh Taylor said, "We're going by the family's word. This is where the family said he was going." What? Taylor also said that Laundrie's relatives only talked with police about the whereabouts of Brian, not about the disappearance of his girlfriend Gabby Petito. An officer was seen leaving Laundrie's home with a paper grocery bag Friday night, which Taylor told reporters contained Laundrie's clothes to be used by the scent-sniffing dogs in the search for Brian. Nothing was found today. Nothing or no one, or of course nothing was found today. And they called off the search for him? How about the night vision drones? Right. Why are they just calling off the search for him? What do they know that we don't? Hold on 1 second. Sometimes I try to avoid a headache. I get into a whole bunch of different positions because I don't always sit at a chair. So we're going to have switch. But, okay, this guy is the only one with all the answers. He's the only one, they don't need infrared. He's the only one that knows where Gabby really is. He lawyered up. He's hiding now after they told us they knew where he was. Are we really supposed to just believe them now? I don't know why I don't believe them anymore. And that guy, Josh, just rubs me the wrong way. Let's see. This one says nothing. This one says nothing. Just kidding. Yeah, I just keep seeing the preserve for Brian Laundrie where they're searching. The reserve where they're searching Brian Laundrie for has been there. They left. They're not there anymore. Oh boy. So it's a Carlton Reserve where they're searching for him. Florida police didn't find anything Saturday as they searched the Wilderness Preserve. Brian Laundrie, the person of interest in the disappearance of his girlfriend, van life YouTuber Gabby Petito. Our search of the Carlton is being called off this evening due to darkness. Nothing found. Efforts will begin again Sunday morning. Well, thanks, Northport Police Twitter. Oh, no. I pull up Northport Police and it immediately wanted to pull up the radio because I was listening to it earlier. No, I don't want to listen to that again. Not that again. So let's see. The latest update is that one of him being everything being called off, and then the first one was currently the false reports of a body being located where we are missing completely fake. I don't know. I feel like them calling off the search is them trying to hide from the fact that something's going on. But they're doing all of this, and then people want to get mad when they're like, it looks like a cover up. I get mad when they say that too, but it's starting to look like that. Never mind. It's starting to look like that guy Josh was just trying to cover up for them. Like he's just a person of interest. I did see an article earlier that I thought was interesting, but because it was kind of saying what we were all feeling like. Yes, what a waste of money. So it says, this is by Newsweek. Police have launched a nationwide investigation for missing 22-year-old YouTuber Gabby Petito after her fiancé Brian Landry returned from their cross-country trip. Petito's family reported her missing to police in Northport, Florida on September 11th, 10 days after Landry returned to his home he shared with Petito and his parents. Police have declared Landry a person of interest in the investigation. And then it's talking about the body cam video, and it's saying Brian Landry is the only person of interest in the disappearance of 22-year-old Gabby Petito, and he has been missing since Tuesday, according to his attorney. This announcement has left social media users outraged that the 23-year-old is now missing as well. Twitter user Raquel Multani replied to Garrison's post and said that the parents should be held accountable for aiding and abetting. She said, they should have taken him straight to the police. Those parents should be held accountable for aiding and abetting. They should have known his mental state. They should have kept him on lockdown. They should have taken him straight to the police. We know where he is. That's what they just said. Another user asked how long Landry had been missing for and questioned whether he actually went missing the day a report was filed for Petito. Police haven't put eyes on him at any point. Neighbors were the ones who stated he was the only one at the home. They've had a lawyer this entire time, she wrote. So it sounds like the neighbors are saying they did see him. How long has he been? Oh, there you go. Let's see. Camille Lee replied to the tweet asking if Garrison actually knew where Brian Landry was on September 16th, as he said if Garrison was just taking his parents' word. And right now, Josh said that he was just taking the parents' word. Under the Brian Landry hashtag, social media users continued sharing their frustration regarding Landry support to the Petito family. Under the Brian Landry hashtag, others criticized both Landry's parents and the police department for letting him get out of sight. The FBI has removed items from Brian Landry's home to help search his attorney. I don't know if you guys heard when Josh was talking. I highlighted a comment, but he actually said they took time to call the cops just like Gabby's parents did. What? He really just put the blame on them. They should have known their daughter went missing. These parents actually knew. Missing YouTuber Gabby Petito's boyfriend Brian Landry left his parents' house as early as Tuesday. Petito's stepfather said on CNN, adding a new twist to the nationwide investigation that has gripped America. Jim Schmee spoke with CNN's Chris Cuomo shortly after the news broke. Yeah, it's the first time we're hearing it. I don't think I've had a moment to fully digest it yet. I don't even know what to say. Cuomo asked whether or not Schmee believes it's true that the Landrys haven't seen their son since Tuesday, and Schmee said he's not sure what to believe, but he's happy the family called police. The revelation is a blow to the police, who have named Landry a person of interest in the investigation, but until Friday made no attempt to enter Landry's home, where they believed he was living. So they're going to talk about the Miranda Baker thing. In the meantime, a TikToker added a twist to the mystery in a video that has now gone viral. Miranda Baker said she and her boyfriend gave Landry a ride as he was hitchhiking alone in Wyoming in what she called a weird encounter. The meeting took place on August 29th, one day before Petito's last text to her mom, Nicole Schmid, who has said she did not believe the message was written by her daughter. As the search continues for 22-year-old Gabby Petito, authorities are now looking for her fiancé, Brian Landry, according to his attorney. Okay, Monica. The announcement comes nearly 12 hours after TikTok Miranda Baker posted a now viral video claiming she picked up Landry hitchhiking alone in Grand Teton National Park, where he was last seen. I know we all saw that yesterday. People are trying to say that it's fake. I don't know. I actually kind of believe her still. Baker thought the encounter was weird since Landry allegedly told her he had been camping by himself for days, but he didn't seem dirty, smelly, or prepared for an extended stay. Just the backpack. I'm sure same kind of backpack that he put outside the car for Gabby. The encounter described by Baker took place one day before Petito's last text to her family. However, Petito's mom is suspicious as to whether or not the text actually came from her daughter. The whereabouts of Brian Laundrie, the fiance of missing 22-year-old Gabby Petito, are currently unknown, according to the 23-year-old attorney and multiple reports. What? How does this story get here? That is so crazy. I'm sorry if I say that way too often. Ooh, they are? I'm going to go over there too. Let's all end this right now and head over to the behavioral panel. Let's get back together tomorrow, class. I didn't realize we were going to do it tonight. Let me throw their link in chat and let's head on over there. The behavioral panel. I'm down to see that. Oh, it's just about to start. Woohoo! Thank you for saying that. Okay, let me throw it on our link first. Let's go, team. I'm posting a link. Here you go. Hey, no problem, guys. We'll see you later. Bye. See you there.